Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Friday. It's been a while, I think, since we've had our heads right collectively and had a couple of days off to process our beloved baseball team and sleep on it, if you will. And probably talk a lot of Padres today. But sometimes something happens and it just throws your entire show into a tailspin. Let's get to that right now. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin friggin' Higgins is here this morning. And this, for Ben, is essentially the Super Bowl and the Masters and the World Series all rolled into one. What in the world is going on in Louisville, Kentucky this morning?
Well, if you are just waking up and you have not seen any of the news from the past hour, let me just tell you, I am currently looking at a picture that is not photoshopped, not doctored in any way, of world number one golfer Scottie Scheffler and his mugshot after being arrested this morning and taken to jail in Louisville, Kentucky, on his way to round 2 of the PGA Championship. What happened? Well, the stories are coming in. Apparently, a very tragic incident that did not involve Scottie Scheffler outside the golf course, Valhalla Golf Club this morning. As people were arriving early in the morning for round 2, one of the buses that was transporting people to the venue struck and killed a pedestrian that was probably also one of the spectators of the golf tournament. That created a major police investigation and traffic incident that the normal 20 minutes of traffic going in was turning into an hour plus, which was blocking many people from getting into the tournament, including players, including Scottie Scheffler. And while, according to reports, the officers were instructed to try to get players in so they could get ready for their tee times, Scottie Scheffler in his courtesy car was stopped by an officer who was not letting him through. And Scottie, trying to explain, hey, I need to get there and get to my time. He was being held, and apparently he tried to run past the officer, who then jumped.
Drive.
Yeah, drive. Run the edge of police, but drive past the officer, who then tried to hold back the car, jump on the car. Scottie stopped, but at that point, the officer pulled him out of the car and put him in handcuffs. This was all documented by ESPN reporter Jeff Darlington, who was also in his own car on the way to the course at the time, just happened to be at the same place at the same time as Scottie Scheffler. Here's the audio.
Guys.
Dude, You can hear Scheffler right there at the beginning. He's Jeff Darlington from ESPN saying, guys, but you can hear Scheffler going, please help me, to a reporter.
I'm back.
That's Jeff Darlington. He's filming this all.
What a get, by the way. Just to be there.
Jeez, man.
Guys.
What do we tell you?
I'm staying back.
Here's the thing.
This is the officer.
Right now, he's going to jail.
Okay.
He's going to jail, and it ain't nothing you can do about it. Period. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you have
First,
a question?
I'm media. I'm a reporter. Okay. So that's all.
That's fine.
I just want to make sure that's
okay.
known.
But you need to step back over here now.
No problem. You got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
And he was, in fact, telling the truth as Scottie Scheffler was taken, booked, mugshot, put into holding, charged with several counts, including second-degree assault on a police officer in Kentucky, but has been released and is apparently on his way back to the golf course for his tee time, which was delayed because of the incident, and it is also raining at Valhalla in Kentucky. And he's now scheduled to tee off at 10:08, I believe, Central Time. So in still a couple of hours. So it looks like he will make his tee time. Don't know what's going to happen to the charges or what's going on in terms of that going forward. It is a charge that, looking it up, carries a 5 to 10 year prison sentence. Assault on a police officer. This is a guy who just won the Masters, just became a father in the last couple of weeks. Is much in contention after a solid first round yesterday behind leader Xander Schauffele. And obviously the jokes are flowing freely on social media about Scottie, who is well known as being one of the more bland characters, even in golf, even in the world of golf. Scotty is even a bland golfer when it comes to spicy things.
I said it a couple weeks ago. I go, he's a surgeon, but God, is he boring? He's boring.
He's extra vanilla.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Guy's got a mugshot that will live forever in infamy, and it is wild to me that dude is teeing off in a couple of hours.
Brandon says it's Eastern time, so it's actually 1 hour from now, if there's no more delays, that he is supposed to be teeing off. We won't have his full warm-up process that he goes through.
Right.
And obviously, it's a tragic situation involving the person who was killed.
By the bus.
Yeah, which that Scotty had nothing to do with that.
Right.
That's not part of the incident. I would assume... I think I see people in the chat already saying, we know he's not going to prison.
No.
The charges will probably go away. There's definitely a good chance that that's the case. Maybe they already have gone away very quickly. It'll still be a big story, though. I promise you there will be people in Kentucky who say, hey, my brother-in-law did the same thing.
Yeah,
and they
he's still in prison.
He's still in
He
jail.
didn't make his tea time.
Yeah. He did not get his tea time that day.
This will continue to be a story that, for one reason or another, will occupy the golf world and the world of criminal justice in the state of Kentucky, I would think, going forward. But one of the more shocking things you can wake up to, Paulie sent the text, right? Like the first thing I wake up to is Scotty Scheffler led away in handcuffs from the PGA Championship this morning.
That is insane. It is an insane story. I've seen, a lot of people tweeting in, that's what happens when you have a kid. You have a kid, and then you end up rushing to your tea time, and bad things happen. Absolutely true. Man, what a weird story. The mugshot, I'm going to say this. It goes kind of hard. But Scotty Scheffler in the orange jumpsuit looks like a criminal. like he's not, doesn't look scared. He's just looking like, what's up? He looks like a badass. I'm going to say it right now. He looks like a badass. Now, he again, had nothing to do with the person that got harmed, trying to whip around through traffic. And apparently they had let a bunch of other golfers in, but the cop that jumped on his hood, Ben, was wearing like the yellow slicker.
It was raining.
Because it's raining. He was wearing the
coat.
yellow slicker, so Scotty didn't know that was a police officer and thought it was just some weirdo parking attendant jumping on his car. But holy cow, man, what a weird and wild story to wake up to this morning out of Valhalla.
Michael Kim, who is the PGA Tour golfer who is from San Diego, went to Torrey Pines High School. He's kind of tweeting about it. He goes, I assume Scotty thought there was a small issue causing some traffic, and with a courtesy car, cops usually let us go through ahead so we're not caught up behind unnecessarily. Scotty was probably just thinking, I need to get to the course to start my routine on time. Obviously, with the circumstances, the cop was on edge and not letting anything go. He also says, I will not be driving around traffic anymore to get to the course, something I have done many, many times in the past as a professional golfer. It's not unusual for pro golfers to get to go around the traffic and the police blockades, just as it isn't for professional baseball teams. We usually have like a bus and a courtesy escort of cops to get around traffic on the way to the games when there is traffic. That is not unusual. They're not supposed to be waiting in traffic with the rest of us. But if an officer tells you to stop, you do have to stop. If you don't know if it's an officer, I don't know what the situation is there.
I think you still stop. Here's a good rule of thumb. If a man jumps on your car, the hood of your car, I would say stop.
And Scotty did stop. I don't know how.
He said 10 yards.
10 yards, okay.
Yeah. Good rule
short
of thumb.
chip.
Yeah, short chip. Somebody jumps on the hood of your car and is hanging on. I think that you just stop.
I think you get like 1 yard, maybe.
You get a yard.
A chilly dip. You didn't get a full pitch. You get a little chilly dip, and then if you stop, you're okay.
3-foot putt, actually.
3-foot putt?
Yeah. 3 feet in the yard?
The yard, yeah.
3-foot putt. That's all you get. But so Scotty is free, and he will be teeing off allegedly in a couple of hours, an hour. That's a nutty story. A weird way to start a Friday here on Ben and Woods this morning. So, holy cow, man. He's in his full orange jumpsuit, mugshot, the whole thing. What an insane story.
As Alex says on Twitter, finally Ben gets his spicy golf story.
Yes.
This does qualify this time. Didn't count earlier this week when the Live and the PGA Tour people were sniping again, but this time this counts as a spicy golf story.
That's exactly right. Well, listen, I don't know really where to go from there at this point. How was everyone's day? You played golf yesterday.
I did. Not very well, but
after a very long day.
It was a long day. I was exhausted at the end of the night.
I had this 4-hour show into a roundtable into marriage counseling is a long day. Straight to school pickup, parental scene, work stuff. It was no Padres game last night. It was a long day. Great to be here with you this morning. Excited to get this week wrapped up. It's been a long week. Padres have done us no favors as far as wins on the field. Certainly, I don't like those weeks. I like when we can at least sprinkle one in.
Well, that's why we get so mad as fans.
Yeah.
Because it does impact our mood and our week.
100%.
We'd be tired on a Friday always, but if the Padres had swept the Rockies or won 2 out of 3, we'd probably be sitting here going, okay, yeah, it's a pretty solid week, but now, after losing 3 straight and heading to Atlanta, we're all feeling extra tired, extra grouchy at the end of a week when our team doesn't play well.
That's exactly right. And then knowing what they're going up against this weekend in hot Atlanta should be an interesting one. And, I saw a lot of people talking yesterday. This team's played well against, well, actually, they have a better record against teams that are over 500 than they do teams that are below 500. So, hey, I'm definitely down to keep that trend continuing. At least that one part of the trend where you play really well against teams above 500. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, the worry is that if the trend doesn't continue, it's because they stop winning games against teams with winning records, not because they start winning games against teams with losing records.
The 4-game set is always an interesting one to me as well. So you're going to have 4 against Atlanta.
It's a wraparound
series,
they call it.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to do that, and you're going to see Max Fried tonight, who has been he's been ridiculous this year. And you got Chris Sale going on Sunday. So they're throwing their best at him, and it's going to be fun. We can talk about that today. Of course, we're talking to the skipper, Mike Shildt, at 9 a.m. this morning. Interested and excited to talk to Shilty, see what kind of mood he's in after a couple days, certainly. Definitely want to get to some of the comments in the press conference with him, and, hopefully that goes well this morning as well. But excited to be here with you guys. And, hey, listen, stay out of trouble this morning. Driving in, guy jumps on the hood of your car, just stop for now.
Yeah. Follow all traffic directions.
Yeah, man. Let's make it a good Friday for everyone.
All right, let's take our first time out. We will come back, set the menu for our Friday program. We got a busy one for you today. Hopefully, it'll be somewhat entertaining as we take you until 10 o'clock. Let's get our first check of traffic with Kelly Danick, and then back with Ben and Woods. Get us to the weekend on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Update from Kentucky. Scotty Scheffler has arrived at Valhalla Golf Club following his arrest, detention, booking in jail, mugshot, release, drive back to the golf course, and is now getting ready for his second round of the PGA Championship.
Now,
in today's breaking news this morning.
If he plays well, he's a sociopath.
He could go out and shoot a 65 today.
Right.
I mean, you saw what he did yesterday, right? First hole after becoming a dad and taking 3 weeks off, he dunked a 9-iron for eagle.
Yeah, for eagle. I
on
saw
the
that.
very first hole. Ended up shooting a 4-under 67, and he's just 5 shots behind leader Xander Schauffele, who's a 62, by the way. The best round ever in a major, ever in the PGA Championship. He's one of only 3 different golfers who have ever shot 62 in a major, and guess what? He's done it twice.
Yep.
He also did it last year at the U.S. Open at LA Country Club. See if he can actually, turn this one into his first major title. Definitely, I think, the best player currently on tour to have not won a major. So that adds a level of drama and intrigue to the PGA Championship. So there's your update.
Sure does.
Scotty Scheffler, after being arrested this morning for
Things you never
trying
thought
to
you'd
drive past a police officer who then jumped on the hood of his courtesy car, is back at the golf course and getting ready for his second round.
Very weird, man. The car clearly labeled PGA, like and other golfers were going through at the time. Very, very strange story indeed. Had no idea clearly it was Scotty Scheffler in there. Scotty had no idea it was a police officer on the hood of his car. After 10 yards, stopped, dragged out, put in cuffs, arrested, taken away, and now probably released on his own recognizance and bailed himself out of jail, a couple grand or whatever, dropping the bucket, and is back on the course this morning.
Someone did, what was the tweet? Like, can you imagine if you got picked up last night in Louisville?
Yeah, you go out with your buddies, you get thrown in the drunk tank, you wake up in the morning, you're like, is that Scotty effing Scheffler right there? Oh my God, what happened last night? How did I get here?
Scotty! Man, what are you doing here?
That old drunk tank is no fun.
Who's in his group today? Like, does he just walk onto the first tee box? How's it going, everybody?
Hey, how you doing? So, how are you?
You know
Case of
Tiger's
the
going to give him
Fridays, am I right?
so much crap.
He's so toast. So toast. Yeah, nothing's going to happen to him. Nothing.
All right, here's what we got coming up, setting the menu for the program today. We will get into some Padres talk in our next segment. We had a good roundtable yesterday with a number of topics being addressed. We could also check in on my appearance after the roundtable.
Yes.
On Foul Territory,
yes,
the
yes.
MLB Network podcast with AJ Przinsky and Trevor May. Good. It was fun to go on the show yesterday for sure. There were a couple of technical difficulties, not on my end. My end went really well. We lost half of the hosts somewhere in the middle due to internet problems in Florida, but it seemed to be fine. Had a good conversation about the Padres, and they asked good questions.
Good.
It was solid. So did that yesterday.
I watched a little bit of it. I wasn't sure, what radio station do you work for?
97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, no one could tell because of the massive logo behind you.
That was Adam's idea.
You're kidding. What? No way. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Behind you.
It was projected on a giant screen behind me.
'Twas not subtle.
No.
At all.
No.
In the slightest. Adam, what in the world?
We wanted to make sure that, the station was properly promoted during my appearance.
He definitely hit the mark there with that. It was unbelievable.
Didn't go for subtlety.
No, it was not subtle at all.
Maybe if I had worn my polo, he wouldn't have needed the giant logo behind me. There it was. 97.3 The Fan.
You got the picture up?
I take up approximately
Oh my God!
like 10% of the screen, and the other 90% of the screen is the 97.3 The Fan logo.
Oh my God!
Any clip I've ever seen from that show, it's usually a guy maybe in an office.
A little tiny maybe like logo on the screen.
Maybe on the screen, but like maybe a bobblehead or like an autographed baseball on a shelf behind him.
Ben, where are you? I'm standing on top of a billboard. This is our 97.3 The Fan billboard, which is that would never happen actually, but you guys know what I'm saying. That is fantastic. Look at that logo. Now, why didn't you say, hey, this is too much?
At the point that it went behind me, we were like 5 minutes away, and we didn't have time to change anything, so I just went
that's
with
funny.
it.
It is so good.
I was dying laughing.
Adam in the chat says, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to absolutely
No,
nobody.
he would not have it any other way.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
7 o'clock hour, we'll have our usual features. Take on Woods, chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. Don't do this as well. We'll look ahead to the series against the Atlanta Braves. At 8 o'clock, it's Friday. It means it's a Cespedes Family Barbecue Friday. Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue and Yahoo Sports going to be with us to talk a little Major League Baseball. We've got our Reindl Report a little early at 8:35 because it is also a Friar Friday, and we will talk to the manager, Mike Shildt from Atlanta, Georgia. Coming up at 9 o'clock, get his thoughts after a day off. I'm curious to know, what did he tell the team for the day off? Like, get your heads right.
Yeah, what do you do?
What do you do as a manager when obviously you want to flush a bad series, get it out of your system, and then just move on and hopefully go back to playing some of the good baseball you were playing beforehand? What does he say to the guys? Is, you're getting off the plane? Does he talk to them on the plane? Does he just leave them alone?
Yeah.
I think there's a number of different strategies that motivators, coaches, managers will use in a situation like that. And I'm curious to know what like Mike Shilt's take on it is.
I did read that article that Jesse Rogers wrote for ESPN, and it really was fascinating. Look, you can disagree or agree with load management for players, but I did read it, and I went, all right, I hate it. I really did, and I want to ask him about, because he's all over it. I mean, pictures of him in there. He's quoted in it as far as what the Padres are doing, and it does seem like they're a little bit on the forefront of this, which, again, as we mentioned, we're usually griping at them because they're last to do some innovation. And there's really not any way to tell right now. You have to start collecting this data at some point before you can make, an actual hypothesis if it works or not. But I did want to ask him about that too, because again, like I said, he's all over it. Now, the other thing too, is it weird for him? Because that dude is as old school as it gets of like, no, we want our guys to play 162 games in every inning and blah, blah, blah. How much has he had to adapt?
Yeah, I mean, he's old school, but I get the sense that he's not afraid of new information and ways that he feels like he can improve the job that he's doing and make his team better.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anything that could possibly make his team better. If you're not at least looking into it, you may dismiss some of it. You can't take every piece of data you get and try to apply it. It's endless. It's really endless. So you got to cut through the clutter, but this could be the cutting edge of baseball. Now, it could also be nothing. Like load management could have zero impact on winning and turning, but they could also be on the forefront of something that, other teams will be copying. Like in a few years, people will be going, yeah, we need to be doing what the Padres are doing with their data and load management, or they will be saying, yeah, that was another one of those ideas that came and went and didn't really impact anything at all.
And if you didn't read the article, I highly recommend you do it. Jesse Rogers, it's on Twitter. I'll retweet it from my account if it makes it easier for you. But, I mean, think about this, though. You're in a groove. You're locked in. But you hit 4 doubles the day before. And now they've graded you out to be, maybe he's probably a little bit run down. And you hit 4 doubles and you made 7 plays in left field. You had to score from second 3 times. They're like, nah, bro, you're getting a day off. You're like, you're not getting me a day off. I just hit 4 doubles yesterday. Is it an easier way to explain away for managers why you may sit a quote unquote hot bat? Does a hot bat exist? That's the thing. And they're trying to cut through it. So I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it all, but I can certainly see why they're tracking everything. It does make sense to me. So I do want to ask him about that, certainly. And does that lead to some of his lineup decisions? Is that why Luis Arise wasn't in? And will he be in tonight against a tougher lefty than Austin Gomber? Things like that I want to talk to Shildt about. And, hopefully it goes well. And, we'll see how it goes.
All right, we will get into it. When we come back, quick timeout, and then Ben and Woods talking Padres baseball with you on a Friday morning on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
I put $100 on Scotty Scheffler to be arrested, and I'm
Wow.
a multi-billionaire at this point. Just insane story. If you missed it, Scotty Scheffler was arrested this morning, and it's all over. I mean, it's one of those days where it's like you think about, man, should I delete Twitter? Is it just too much? And then you see a day like this, and you go, no, I can't. I can never leave it. I would find myself running back to Twitter on days like this if I did delete it. I did delete it last year for a few months for my mental health, and it really was nice. It was really nice. But so yeah, he's now on his way to the driving range. He was arrested this morning and released. And so, yeah, it's everywhere.
Now, he did get to the course 58 minutes still before his delayed tee time.
Yeah,
so he's got an hour to get ready. Now,
He'll be fine.
For most of us, that's plenty of time. How often do you get to the golf course?
Every time.
More than an hour before.
Me, every single time.
You get there early.
Yeah.
I'm usually more of a 30 to 45 minutes guy.
Sometimes a 5-minute guy.
Sometimes a 5-minute guy.
Yeah.
Hit a few balls, get out there.
We've played golf before where Ben pulled up to the course, got out, and goes, I have to go home and get my shoes, and then ran back to his home to get his shoes, and then walked up to the tee box, and then still beats the crap out of all of us.
And we're wondering, I think Scotty Scheffler may do the same thing today at the PGA Championship and still end up with a great score because he's just that good. So I had the unusual situation. I've interviewed many athletes, baseball players. I don't know that I've ever had baseball players asking me questions, though.
It's an interesting one.
It was weird to have A.J. Przinsky and Trevor May asking Ben Higgins questions about baseball. In some ways, it felt a little wrong, actually. Now, clearly, they're not following the Padres as closely as we're following the Padres, so I had some insight to offer them. But it still was weird having people who know more and have spent more time in baseball than me asking me questions about the game. But had a chance to appear on that Foul Territory podcast from MLB Network yesterday. Paulie's got a couple of clips, I think, lined up, so we'll get to those right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resorts. Looking good on our roads at this time. We are problem-free. Yeah, that Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows you got a pretty good ride westbound King Freeway heading into downtown. Viejas Casino and Resort is home to the best players club in My Viejas. Start earning points toward incredible rewards like free gifts, concert tickets, hotel stays, dining discounts, and more. It's time to ditch the other guys and join the best, the My Viejas Players Club. Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So they had me on for about 17 minutes, I think, overall. Fill some time. Good talker, someone who's on the radio. I think they had no problem with asking me a few questions. Now, we're not going to play all of that for you. That's much too long. Paulie is going to take a couple of minutes from the beginning and then just at the very end here. But this is yesterday's Foul Territory podcast appearance. Yours truly on the MLB Network with the guys. It's A.J. Przinsky, it's Trevor May, and Scott Braun is the other person who's kind of the host with those guys.
Ben Higgins, you can follow him at Ben Higgins SD. He is a sports director and also radio host of the very popular Ben and Woods show on 97.3 The Fan.
Like that.
Ben, great to have you on here for the first time. Appreciate it. Of course, it's not the best timing, but it's also relevant timing. So what have you witnessed in Padres baseball in the past 2 weeks?
It's funny because, if we had been on 3 days ago, this would have been a very different conversation about a team headed in the right direction, playing some good baseball under Mike Shildt, 4 straight series in a row, taking 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. All was good in Padres world and on our show on Monday morning. And then the Rockies come to town and sweep 3 straight, and the Padres looked like their worst series of the season. And, of course, now fans think the sky is falling. Mike Shildt specifically said the sky is not falling in his clubhouse yesterday, but that's where we're at this moment, trying to figure out who the real San Diego Padres are. But haven't we really been trying to figure out who the real San Diego Padres are for the last 3 or 4 years? Lots of talent, play a lot of good baseball. Somehow at the end, doesn't seem to be enough wins at the end of the season.
That was going to be my first question. Which team do we get? Is it the one that seems to be able to handle the Dodgers, or is it the one that just gets swept by the Rockies? Now, I know the Rockies are playing really well right now, but still, this is This is a team, if you look at the schedule and you're a Padres fan, you're like, okay, we just had a big series against the Dodgers. We won the 2 out of 3. Darvish goes out and shoves on the last game. And, we got the Rockies coming to town. Man, we can keep this momentum going. And then, boom, we lose 3 in a row. So which one is the real San Diego Padres? Or is it just always going to be a team that we think is better than what they are?
Well, I think the real San Diego Padres will be determined by whether or not Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts start hitting like Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts. Because honestly, the guys who have carried them to a pretty decent start are Jurickson Profar, who signed a $1 million deal in the offseason and honestly has been the best outfielder in the National League, I think, to this point of the season, which is incredible. Jackson Merrill, who is a rookie who had never played center field. He showed up to spring training, had never stepped into center field in his life, and is now the starting everyday center fielder for the Padres. He's done great. And the bounce back from Jake Cronenworth at first base. All those questions were answered. And then the guys that you're counting on to be the heart of your offense, Xander Bogaerts got off to a terrible start. Manny Machado, coming off the elbow surgery, has been in a major slump lately. And even Fernando Tatis Jr., while he hasn't been bad, has not been the take over the game Fernando Tatis Jr. like player that we have seen in the past at times. So those guys get going. Padres should have enough pitching and depth to be fine. If those guys don't get going, I don't think there's much hope for the rest of the season.
Fair.
Yeah, very fair.
Yeah,
fair. You need your stars to be stars, right?
Ben, it's great to talk to you and have you on here for the first time. Love
here.
your show. You do a great job on there, and everyone make sure you give him a follow at Ben Higgins SD and check out Ben Woods on 97.3.
I like it.
The Fan. Thank you, Ben.
Appreciate it, guys. Off to the links. Hopefully, I can break 80 today.
Ben, before you go, I just have to say, when I saw Ben Higgins was coming on, I'm like, oh, I know Ben Higgins,
Bachelor,
the guy from The Bachelor. No, I know, and I'm like, I played golf with Ben Higgins, and then you're talking, and I'm like, wait, he looks different on.
But he's
I interviewed him before.
I know.
Yeah, I got all of his mentions when he was The Bachelor because I was verified and he wasn't. So they were a lot of lovesick women out in this country that were communicating with me instead of him.
Oh.
Nice humble brag. Love that.
Nice humble brag.
Yeah, love that. Yeah,
Trevor, man.
I love it. Great job, dude.
Well
Knocked
done.
it out of the park, Ben. Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was a little
hell
nervous.
yeah, I would've been
like I
nervous,
said, it's tough knowing that those guys know more than you do, and they're asking you questions,
Yeah, that
kind
is
of.
tough.
But no, it went pretty well for the most part. And there was a technical difficulty. We lost Scott and AJ midway through the interview, and it was just like Trevor. So there was like some awkward silence. I finished an answer, and there was like 5-6 seconds. And I go, "What's going on here?" And Trevor's going, "Oh, I guess it's just me now." They had like an internet failure from where they do the show in Florida, and I'm not sure where Trevor was, but he was in a different location. But it all worked out just fine.
Yeah, I think you absolutely knocked that out of the park, man. I would have been very, very nervous as well, and you answered all those questions very well. I think you answered them so well that they were like, yeah, fair, sounds good.
Actually, that felt like a good moment. Like, the baseball guys, I just said something, and they go, yeah, he
right.
pretty much nailed it. I don't have anything to add
That's fair.
to what he just said.
Fair enough. I got nothing. Great job. No, it was awesome.
Sometimes you do, we get so into the specifics, obviously, covering every game, detailed, and taking every story to the nth degree, covering the Padres, that it actually is helpful to back away and look at the big picture. Like, someone is asking you big picture questions, and it really, for me, it simplifies it. What's the issue with the Padres? Well, it's that their star players are not producing like stars. Everything else, a little bit of noise during the baseball season. You get caught up in one great series or one bad series like the Dodgers or the Rockies. But the big picture for the Padres right now is Manny and Xander have not played like Manny and Xander. Even Tatis can play better.
Ha-Seong Kim has been really...
And Ha-Seong Kim as well. But everything else with the Padres, there's been some ups and downs with the starting pitching. Bullpen has had some issues, as does every team.
Correct.
No team just goes through every turn in the rotation. Everyone's great. Every time the bullpen goes in, they just lock it down in the middle innings right to the closer. Every team has those issues, as do the Padres. The one that's specific to the Padres, though, is star players not performing up to expectations.
No question.
That's the big picture view right now of the Padres.
And we had the roundtable yesterday, and I thought Annie made a really good point. She goes, the thing about the Padres that I've noticed is that every time one of the stars slumps, they all slump. And that has just murdered this team. And Craig had a great stat. I mean, essentially saying This is a 500 baseball team, essentially, over the last 3 years. So I think, I think that's what drives fans crazy. Now, you say they're inconsistent. That's about as consistent as you can be. I mean, being a 500 baseball team over 3 seasons is about as consistent as one team can be. We are fooled oftentimes by the promise of this team. We see such flashes. It's not like it's perennially bad. It's not. There are flashes where you go, that team that played tonight can beat anyone. Anyone. Those 2 games they played against the Dodgers over the weekend, you looked at that and you got, there's no way they're scared of these guys. They could take them in a 7-game series and not even think twice about it. It would not even feel like David versus Goliath. Really.
Yeah, look at the Padres versus the Dodgers. Like, go through the roster, and if you put the Padres and put each guy kind of at their best, and you put the Dodgers at their best,
yeah,
you feel like this is absolutely a team that matches up with the Dodgers.
No question about it.
The thing is that, well, yes, Dodgers players slump as well. Their players just don't seem to go into quite as long of funks quite as often as Padres players. Yeah. They just seem to have a little more the consistency that is missing from the Padres roster. It's not the top level. At the top, the Padres can play with the Dodgers any night. It's at the 162 game level that you don't see Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani go into a 2-week funk all together at the same time.
Correct. I mean, Mookie right now, I think I saw a stat last night. Mookie has 3 extra base hits in the month of May.
Right.
That's not good. He was getting 3 extra base hits a game.
Pretty much.
When the season started. That being said, Shohei Ohtani is on fire.
Freddie Freeman got off to a slower start. He started hitting. Shohei Ohtani's just carrying everyone on his back. No one's putting the Padres on their back right now.
Nobody. I mean, the only guys that you could look at and say putting on their back would be a Jerkson Profar, who is coming up with big hits. You know, the home run against the Cubs. He's coming up with big hits.
And that's why they're only 2 games under 500 and not 8 games under 500 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you to Jerkson Profar for doing that. But, when Tatis gets nuclear hot, which we haven't seen yet, or when Manny gets nuclear hot, that's when you can win a bunch of games. It's just not happening. And it's going to be very hard to go on a run until at least 2 of those guys get into a nice groove at the same time. And then, Padres are very formidable when that happens. It just doesn't happen as often as it does for a team like the Dodgers.
No question about it. There's no question about it. And I really don't see, I know that Ohtani is a world beater. I know that Mookie is an MVP candidate, et cetera, et cetera. Bless you, Paulie. I look at our team and I go, yeah, they're all just cold. The ones that we need to be the hottest are just cold at the same time. So, yeah, the hope of them figuring it out is really something else. But, hey, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. Excited to ask Mike Shildt about it today. And, we were talking about yesterday some of the slumps that guys have been in their careers, and there's some really staggering ones. But man, to see Manny playing like he is, that's a tough watch right now.
I did see someone make the point, and my apologies because I don't remember who it was or even where it was, that the Padres are maybe the ultimate vibes team.
I saw that. Yeah, I think it was Tommy.
Was it? Yeah.
Tommy,
then when things are going well, they just feed off each other, and it just looks so good. They've got swagger. They've got style, and they have substance all at once. And when it clicks, they look unbeatable. When the Padres really do play well and those guys are hot, they look unbeatable. But once 1 or 2 get into a funk, you do see like the here we go again, the slump of the shoulders, the are we ever going to get another hit again sort of feeling that just it doesn't permeate one player. It's not like this guy's in a slump, but everyone else is fine. It starts to infect the whole team at the same time, that they can't seem to get away from, we're all feeling great or we're all feeling down at the same moments. And I don't know what that is.
My wife is dragging us in the chat, and she said this to me last night because they said it on a broadcast we were watching. I think we were watching it was either the Dodger game that was on or the Mets-Phillies. I think it was Mets-Phillies. She says, I swear to God, if anybody says stars need to play like stars, I'm going to have a conniption. I said it at the beginning of the season, and it still remains true. I mean, you can hate the phrase, but it is it's better than, well, we just haven't played our best baseball yet. It's better than, don't worry, the baseball card numbers are going to be there at the end of the day. It's better than these guys are fighting and clawing and battling. Those are the tropes that I'm very tired of hearing. The baseball card one needs to go away forever. Forever. That one has got to go. And the fact of the matter is, Hannah, is that our stars do need to play like stars. $60 million between Mander and Xander and Manny. And there's not a lot of production out of them. Mander and Zanny, by the way.
I think when you say the back of the baseball card thing needs to go away, it's instructive in that you do have to give guys with a track record more leeway.
Of course.
That's what the back of the baseball card means. But essentially, going forward, from this day forward, anything that Manny Machado or Xander Bogaerts does is irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. You go forward, all we care about now is what are you going to do tonight? What are you going to do tomorrow?
Correct.
Nothing on the back of your baseball card guarantees you a hit, guarantees you a home run. You still have to perform going forward.
And I just, that's why we've tried to stay away from it's still early. And the fact of the matter is it is, but I don't want to say it anymore because I think we've given too much leeway to, there's still a lot of games to figure it out, And you're running out of games every day. Every game that you play, every series to the Rockies that you get swept, that's 3 more you can't get back. So I don't like that. I don't like any of these tropes.
It is early, but every game's important, and it's never good to go into a slump or feel like, hey, it's okay that we lose because it's early in the season. It's never okay you lose because it's early. It's not okay you lose because it's late. It's not okay because it's the middle of the season.
Conor Robb says it's like a salesman. Hey, it's great you made 10 sales today. What about tomorrow and the next day, week, month? 100%. And the thing is, I want to talk about this. My buddy floated a theory at me the other day, and I thought to myself, you got something there. The pandemic, the 2020 season, might have ruined fandom. At least helped spawn some of our live and die attitude with this baseball team, right? I think we picked up a lot of new fans then, and I think it's ultimately been a bad thing. So let's talk about that coming up next.
Sounds good. Plus, take on Woods, hour number 2 of Ben and Woods next on 97.3 The Fan.
I'm screwed now for the rest of our career because I just called them Mander and Zanny. And I've done that before with Mud and Dawn, and I called them Dud and Mon on the air. And every time I say Mud and Dawn, I have to give my brain a second to catch up. Hey, man, I sure love watching Mud and Dawn. I can't say it fast anymore. And so now, for the rest of my career, it's going to be Mander and Zanny. And I'm sorry. It's just something. Now, they talked about Dud and Mon, by the way.
Dud and Mon.
Dud and Mon. Now, they talked about Dud and Mon. Why don't you slow down? Relax a little bit. You lunatic. So now we've got Mander and Zanny.
Zanny, kind of street lingo for a Xanax, right? A Zanny.
Whoa. I'd never heard that.
Did you not heard that one?
What did you call it?
Street lingo?
Street lingo.
Yeah.
Street lingo. Out on the streets. Hey, anybody got any Zanny?
Zanny,
You're right,
got a
actually.
Zanny?
Yeah.
Hi, I'd like a 2 Zanny.
Please. Look.
2 hits of Zanny.
2 hits. 2 hits. 2 bags of Zanny, please. Street lingo. Lisa says, how does BBB know this and not BBW? I know that. I know that it's called Zanny. Come on. Mander
and Zanny.
And Zanny. Mander and Zanny. Xander and Manny.
All right. Now, I need you to explain why getting new fans
That's not what I said.
is a bad thing for the San Diego Padres.
You're a word twister, is what you are.
That's what I heard.
You're taking
That's
me out
what
of
I
context.
heard.
Damn it.
That's what we all heard.
No, my buddy called me the other day. He listened to, it's our buddy Jack. And he was listening to our show the other day after the particularly brutal loss. And how we all kind of got spun out about it. And
It was Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning. And it was not my favorite show. He actually said, I loved it. I thought it was great. He goes, listening to you guys who are pros get just spun out about this team and, you know, Manny swinging and this thing. He goes, I thought it was great radio. He said, I will say, man, I do feel like, he goes, number one, I do feel like you guys helped contribute to the madness. I said, yes, absolutely. I'll wear that one. He said, I also feel like the 2020 season set baseball back a long way. And I said, how come? And he said, well, every game was so important. It was so important. That
for 2 reasons, right? Because, first of all, the season was so short. So you're already in a pennant race, a playoff chase, day one. You're like coming down the stretch.
Yeah,
after
the stretch.
Every game was like the equivalent of 3 regular
so
season.
that was reason one. But reason 2 was we had nothing else to do or watch.
Correct.
So we would, I mean, if you're like me, especially during the pandemic, I mean, I'm still like this, but you'd basically build your entire day knowing I got a chance to watch a Padres game, competitive baseball game after months of lockdown with nothing. I now have 60 Padres games, and I can look forward and savor each one of them. They're all the most important thing in the world to me on this day.
And it was as close to an NFL season feeling as you got. It really. And it was, everybody was balls to the wall. Manny was making catches out in right field. I mean, it was, your bullpen management was different. Your starters were managed differently. It was really, it was balls to the wall baseball. Now, if you want to make a case to shorten the season, I'm all for it. Maybe keep a little sanity in my life. But I did think to myself, yeah, man, it might have even changed my perception as well on how we cover the team, how I watch the games. There's no reason on the planet, Benny, that a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was against the Cubs, that I should be sitting on the edge of my bed in the 8th inning, biting my nails like it's Game 7. And that's exactly what I was doing. I mean, the first Dodger comeback we had in the series in L.A., rocking back and forth. I'm like, it's April at this point. What are you doing? And I just think the mindset has changed. And also, you couple that with the fact that this team has had so much promise. They spent money. They've had all these.
That's the third part of it. And the fourth part of it is that the Chargers left, which left us, in the past, 10 years ago, if the Padres have a bad series, it's all right. I'll worry about the Chargers draft, and then you got minicamp coming up, and you turn your attention to something else. But now more fans in San Diego are singularly fixated on the Padres.
Which, by the way, is awesome. It's awesome. It's great for us. It's great for the team. The Petco Park is filled. Like, people are living in that. And I'm going to tell the skipper that today when we talk to him is like, all the comments are not positive, Mike, but at least they're commenting. They really do care. And I do feel like at the end of the day, everybody that's pissed, that's yelling at me, that I'm yelling at, blah, 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 whatever, they just want to win. And I think that's what it boils down to. I saw yesterday, it's funny you bring that up, because I saw a listener tweeting at Sports Radio Philadelphia to the flagship, okay? They're like, guys, what in the world is going on? I'm in my car. It's prime time, and I'm listening to the Eagles schedule talk. The Phillies are one of the hottest teams in baseball, if not the hottest teams in baseball, and I've just listened to an hour of Phillies schedule talk. Then their hosts come on. They're defending their decision, and I just thought to myself, that's never going to be us. Never. Like, we're going to get an MLS team. We're going to get this. We're going to get that. This is what our show will be forever, whether it's here at 97.3 The Fan. If they put us on another station, it's still going to be that. So I don't necessarily mind living and dying with it. Perspective, though, is very important.
I do strongly agree with you, especially on one point. First, need a contestant for Take on Woods. So if you wanted to call in right now, we're just a couple minutes away from our game and chance to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas. 833-288-0973. It's head-to-head against Woods, our musical trivia daily challenge. 833-288-0973. Call in, wait to get on hold, and then we'll get to you in just a couple of minutes. I strongly agree with you when you say, yes, it doesn't feel good to take a 3-game sweep by the Rockies, so it feels so painful and so important, but it is better than the alternative, which is just not caring at all.
Correct.
Like, not really having they lost. What doesn't matter. We don't care. Doesn't matter. They're not going anywhere. At least we have the hope, one way or another, that these games still mean something for the San Diego Padres. And for many years prior to Ron Fowler and Peter Seidler, we didn't really have the hope that the games, even early in the season, were meaningful. It was the Cubs situation where you show up day one at Wrigley Field and it's, hey, we'll get them next season. And it's the first day and you're already like, we're out of it. At least it's not like that anymore, where we can say, yeah, for good or bad, these games are truly meaningful for the San Diego Padres.
And Dominic says in the chat, Dominic lives in Baltimore. He says Baltimore does it too. Talking Ravens in May instead of the Baltimore Orioles, which to me, when we were at the old station, our producer or whatnot would be so mad when we weren't talking the NFL. And that battle of banging heads with him every day, with the bosses in the office every day. I'm not exaggerating. Literally meetings every day. Why aren't you guys talking NFL? Why are you talking about Joey Lucchese? Nobody knows who he is. I said, because it's smart to do that? No, you don't know what you're talking about. You've only been doing sports radio for 6 months. But we don't have a team. And it was every day the constant battle. So I do take some of the blame.
The mega market. We got to be the Rams.
We got to be the mega market.
The Rams home in San Diego.
Do you know what Orioles fans say when their team gets swept? Nobody knows, because the Orioles have not been swept in 105 consecutive series.
That's
the third longest streak in baseball history. It's under the radar. One of the most amazing things that I saw this week, they had to win the second game of a 2-game series against the Blue Jays to keep the streak going. That includes 2-game series, by the way. They have not been swept in 105 consecutive series. No rain out, 2-game series. That was a rain out shortened series, and they still avoided the sweep. That keeps your fan base from panicking too much when you never go on a losing streak, because you can't go on a losing streak if you don't get swept.
If nobody's talking about them. Kyle says, I live in the Twin Cities. There's hardly ever a single segment that talk about the Twins. And it is just crazy. It's just crazy. And I, as much as it would be nice to have other content streams, I think I would lose my mind in here talking about the schedule. And hey guys, I got an idea. Let's go around with the schedule. Ben, how many games will the Chargers win this year? Let's start there. Well, they open with Kansas City. They're 0-1. I think they go to the Raiders. They're probably 1-1. Are you effing kidding? That'd be the worst. I don't know that I could make it. So I'm happy with what we have. I understand the fandom, the passion, the crazy living and dying, because I do it too. I absolutely do it too.
We go through the schedule on Take on Woods. You see a lot of W's for Woods in our game, but will today be one of them? Let's get to it. It is time to Take on Woods. All right, look at all these lines. Let's try line 5, Paul. Caller, you're on the air for Take on Woods. Who's this?
This is Jack.
Jack? All right, are you calling to Battle Woods here today?
Yeah, it's my first time.
You're in.
Love it.
All right, first timer. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car for directions and discounts. Go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. If you can beat or tie Woods, we'll put you into the drawing for the 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. 2 tickets to the Warrant, Lita Ford, and Paralandra show on June 22nd. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. All right, first timer. Your advantage is getting to pick the category for today's game and keeping Woods in the dark. Your choices, Jack, are A View to a Killer, the word killer key in all those, In the Year of Our Lord, 5 different songs that include years in the title, and our new category today is called Written by Prince. You're trying to identify 5 artists with hits that were actually written by Prince. So you got A View to a Killer, In the Year of Our Lord, or Written by Prince. Jack, what would you like to play?
Let's do the first one.
First one, A View to a Killer. All right, you have 60 seconds to answer up to 5 questions. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll come back to it. The word killer is going to be key in all these questions and answers, lyrics, bands, song titles, what have you. So keep that in mind. First question is our 2-second song. You need to identify both the title of the song and the artist by the small clip that Paulie plays. Jack, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Woods is in isolation. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Jack. Let's take on Woods.
Somebody I used to know, The Killers.
Ooh, close, but no. Released at the same time as The Son of Sam Murder Spree, which early Talking Heads hit features bridge lyrics sung in French? Which high-class call girl is dynamite with a laser beam in a 1974 song written by Freddie Mercury?
Killer Queen.
Correct. Which rapper and activist formed the duo Run the Jewels with producer LP in 2013?
Queen Latifah.
Incorrect. The killer in me is the killer in you is a line from which 1994 hit by the Smashing Pumpkins?
Disarm.
Correct. Let's go back to released at the same time as The Son of Sam Murder Spree, which early Talking Heads hit features bridge lyrics sung in French?
I don't know this one.
Okay, that's the only one we've got left. So you've got 2 correct. It's Somebody Told Me by The Killers, not Somebody I Used to Know. That's Gautier.
Somebody that
I used to know. Yeah, Somebody Told You. Were on the right track, too. I wish I could give you that one, but you did get Killer Queen and Disarm. The other 2, Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads, and Killer Mike is the rapper in Run the Jewels. Let's see how Woods does here. Stay on the line, Jack. 2 could get you the tie, maybe get you in. And Woods doesn't get the category. Could be a tricky one. All right, Jack's score is locked in. Put 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Jack.
That is Somebody Told Me by The Killers.
Correct. Released at the same time as The Son of Sam Murder Spree, which early Talking Heads hit features bridge lyrics sung in French?
Psycho Killer.
Correct. Which high-class call girl is dynamite with a laser beam in a 1974 song written by Freddie Mercury?
Pass.
Which rapper and activist formed the duo Run the Jewels with producer LP in 2013?
Killer Mike.
Correct. The killer in me is the killer in you is a line from which 1994 hit by the Smashing Pumpkins?
Disarm.
Correct. Which high-class call girl is dynamite with a laser beam?
Killer Queen.
There you go. It's a 5 for 5 and a win for Woods again, who remains undefeated this month in Take on Woods. Jack, thanks for being a first-time player. Please call and try again at any time. You gave it a good effort, but 5-2 He just twisted the words on the somebody told me. He said somebody you used to know instead of
That's Gauthier.
somebody. That's Gauthier, yeah.
Yeah.
But a well-played game by both of you this morning, but especially by you, sir.
Thank you very much.
5 for 5 is always good.
Yeah, Robert Suarez. That's who I am.
You are this month.
Yeah,
that's for sure. All right, we've got Don't Do This is coming up next.
I've got one of the coolest do this is
good.
that I've ever seen,
Really?
and it is right up my alley.
All right, I'm looking forward to it because I don't know what Woods is going to be talking about next on San Diego's #1 sports station after a traffic check here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. And to lead us off this morning, and Don't Do This, Stephen Woods.
Oh, I saw a video last night that, it's making the rounds, Ben, on social media. Dodgers starter Tyler Glasnow was pulled aside by the umps. They did the sticky stuff check. Now, it's fine. They do it to every single pitcher. But they did zoom in on his hand, and boy, did it look sticky. He was not ejected for this, though, last night. But they zoom in on his hand, and there's just brown gunk all over his pitching thumb. And, we just talked about the Ronel Blanco situation in Houston. Did he get suspended?
Yeah, 10 games.
He did,
just like Robert Suarez last year.
Is he appealing that?
There's really
you can't do it, right?
I mean, Robert did appeal. You can appeal it, but you're going to lose.
You're going to lose
until
eventually.
You're done. I did not see if he appealed or not. But.
What was interesting, though, is the umpires are literally feeling around his hands, and there's a good amount of brown gunk on those hands. I guess there's different rules apply, maybe, to the LA Dodgers.
The rules when it comes to the
jerk,
sticky.
By the way.
No,
I'm just being a jerk.
I know, but baseball does have a problem when it comes to the definition of sticky stuff.
Yeah,
it's more of.
By the way, though, he is an admitted sticky stuff lover,
user in the past,
lover of it.
But it's kind of like what's the old Supreme Court definition of the obscenity? I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it. It's really for umpires. It's basically, I can't tell you how sticky is too sticky, but I know it when I feel it, when I touch your hands. But there's no established baseline in terms of stickiness that gets you thrown out.
I would think, just for me, I would think of a brown substance on your pitching thumb.
Yeah, but you are allowed to use the rosin.
Which is white.
Yes.
But it lays in brown dirt.
You're also allowed to have dirt on your hands as well. And, if it doesn't feel sticky, then the umpires can't do anything about it.
It's really just sad.
But if it does, then the player can't do anything about it, and you're out and you're suspended just because the umpire decided that this feels a little too sticky to me.
It's really just sad. Bo watched the video, and I caught him loading up his hands with sticky stuff. This is what happens. He's now wanting to catch an edge. He'd said, "I'd like to make the money Tyler Glasnow makes, Dad, someday." And
you got to be careful because that's a gateway substance.
It really is, and now my son is loading up his glove with sticky stuff, thanks to Tyler Glasnow. So watch out.
It's funny.
Yeah, he does. He thinks it's funny. Is cheating cool to you, Bo? He said, Tyler Glasnow does it. I can do it. I'm just being a jerk, you guys. But the video was pretty interesting to see.
Talked about it at the start of the show, but we'll update here in Don't Do This, the Scotty Scheffler incident and the very sad incident at the PGA Championship where a pedestrian on his way to the tournament was hit and killed by a bus, one of the tournament buses this morning. It caused a huge traffic backup, though, and Scheffler, trying to make his way to the course and get through in his courtesy car, did not stop when an officer tried to stop him. The officer jumped on the hood of his car. Scheffler continued to drive 10 yards before stopping. He was pulled out of his car, arrested, booked in Louisville County Jail, mugshot released, charged with various charges, including assault on a police officer, criminal mayhem, reckless driving. But he was released, and he has made it to the course. Now, he just released a statement, or his team released a statement on his personal Instagram. This is what Scotty Scheffler had to say. This morning, I was proceeding as directed by police officers. It was a very chaotic situation, understandably so, considering the tragic accident that had occurred earlier, and there was a big misunderstanding of what I thought I was being asked to do. I never intended to disregard any of the instructions. I'm hopeful to put this to the side and focus on golf today. Of course, all of us involved in the tournament express our deepest sympathies to the family of the man who passed away in the earlier accident this morning. It truly puts everything in perspective. That's the statement from Scotty Scheffler, who did make it back to the course about an hour before his delayed tee time. He has just started his second round, and he has birdied the first hole.
Of course he did.
Because he's Scotty Scheffler, and he's now 4 shots behind Xander Schauffele, your first-round leader, already lurking in the rearview mirror. Even
fresh out of
an
jail.
arrest and going to jail can't slow down Scotty Scheffler, who's won 4 of his last 5 tournaments, including a green jacket. Finished second in the tournament he didn't win. Had a baby, family for the first time, and now he's back in contention.
Fresh out of jail.
Fresh out of jail at the PGA Championship.
Birdie's his first hole. That's sociopathic behavior.
Yes, it is.
It's really, really is.
You know I respect that.
Yes, I do. This is a great do this. Right up my alley.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
Saw the Atlanta Braves, who will be taking on this weekend, Benjamin, tweeted this last night. August 7th, Spencer Strider Vinyl Night. Be one of the first 15,000 fans in attendance to receive a free custom vinyl with tracks personally selected by Spencer. Now, the cool twist
Not
of this,
performed by Spencer.
No.
Okay.
This is not his record.
His favorite songs or whatever.
No, this is the cool part. So here's the addendum to it. On Wednesday, August 7th, the first 15,000 fans will receive a 7-inch vinyl record featuring one of Spencer Strider's favorite Atlanta-based bands, Trash Panda. No, featuring one of. Trash Panda, Dinner Time, and Lunar Vacation.
Is it just like a one single, like a small record with one song on it, and you get
No, it's
different ones?
it's 3 local bands that he has picked some tunes from, which I think is really cool, celebrating the local bands, the local music scene in Atlanta, and has a little blurb about each of the bands. I think that's really
That's a very unique giveaway item.
Clever.
It's awesome.
Now, they've given away records at games before. Disco Demolition Night years ago.
That's right.
It's a 7-inch, so it's not the full big vinyl, but it's still the
Wasn't that
the
also
single.
10-cent beer night as well at the same time, maybe?
I don't know, but it was like a promotion because disco sucked and they wanted to burn
disco records
and wreck disco records.
Disco does not suck, by the way.
It did at the time,
But now it's cool, right?
Yeah, everything eventually comes back.
Right.
Like you'll be in like 30 years, you'll be super cool.
I will.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
100%. Yeah.
Because I was cool in the past?
No,
or,
it's
no,
just
'cause
things
I don't,
that were kind of.
I don't remember ever being cool.
But you will be cool.
I'm like disco.
later.
Now I'm like disco that's not cool.
Correct.
Ben Demolition Night.
It's going to be epic.
But in the future, everyone's going to look back fondly on those Ben nostalgia years and think how great he was.
Now you get it. Now you
Got
get it. What a cool, unique promotion that they're doing, though. I love it. And somebody asked me last night, all right, what Padre should do this? And I immediately popped in my head Dylan Cease. But then again, Dylan's not from here. Joe Musgrove.
Yeah, local
celebrates
bands.
a lot of local bands.
I mean, I think you want to go with some original. I had my idea, because Padres are always coming up with pretty unique giveaway items. Like the poncho, was amazing.
I wore it all weekend, by the
All
way.
right, if you're going to go something creative in art, we talked about to Dylan Cease this week, and you asked him, would he be willing to sell one of his paintings? What if they made prints of like a Dylan Cease original and
So
handed
cool.
out prints
That'd be awesome.
to the first 40,000 fans
I would love
of a
it.
Dylan Cease artwork, and it could be Dylan Cease art night or something, or Dylan Cease painting night
I think that
at
is
Petco Park.
Oh, that was it. Squirrely says if you brought a record at Comiskey Park, you got in for $1.
Ah, okay.
So then everyone was going to throw their records and they were going to demolish them. But there's records flying through the air. There was an explosion.
They're hard plastic. That's not necessarily the safest thing.
But so that's the one thing you worry about. But I'm not too worried that Atlanta fans are going to be slinging those things around like frisbees. But what a cool promotion that is.
And that is don't and do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Do we dare open any phone lines on this Friday? We do.
Want to.
After the Padres getting swept by the Colorado Rockies, opening a 4-game series tonight in Atlanta against the Braves. If you want to join us,
I want to talk to the people.
Share your feelings about the Padres. You can do so in our next segment. We got a big, long bottom of the hour segment coming up. We can look ahead to the series as well as some of the pitching matchups ahead against the Atlanta Braves. Give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Want to hear from you, Padres fans, on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sauer and Bennett Woods brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
Our buddy, Mark B. and SD, one of like 3 really smart and good Dodger fans. He tweeted me, he goes, I knew that bit of Tyler Glasnow and his sticky hands was coming at my expense. You have to every now and then. It is weird, though. I watched the video again during the break. I mean, it's like all over his hands. It looks like, somebody said, it looks like when you get sap on your hands. You know, if you get the Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah.
You're screwed.
Carry the Christmas tree in from the top of the car, and you've got it's like on your hands, and you cannot get it off.
The greatest scene in Christmas Vacation when the magazine's sticking to his
Little
hand. Little full, lot of sap. You can't. So it is interesting to me that of course nothing happened to Tyler.
Your mother waxes her upper lip.
Yeah, that's for years.
Trying to get the magazine off his hands.
I think it was Jesse and Tony were talking about it, that the rules obviously haven't completely gotten sticky stuff out of the game.
Correct.
But Tony says he thinks it's gotten like spider tack out of the game.
Yeah,
because
and Eno said that too.
You can't. Oh, maybe it was Eno who said
it. Was Eno,
You can't get that off of your hands. There is stuff that you can use that's sticky that then you can wipe off with if you have maybe part of your uniform pant is soaked in a little rubbing alcohol that you can get off of your hands before it's checked. But the really sticky stuff that was being used doesn't come off that easily. So the checks do have some effectiveness in limiting the amount of sticky stuff that players can use, but it hasn't gotten it out of the game completely.
Yeah, and they do go into the glove, and we had talked to a big league pitcher years ago, and his workaround for it, and he never used it. And I asked him, "What do you think you could do?" He goes, my slider that's pretty good would be outstanding if I could use spider tack on it.
I would be an all-star every single year.
I'd be an all-star every single year because I throw hard. I throw from the left side. I can spin it like a madman. And if I can get a bunch of RPMs on it, I can absolutely, I would be an all-star. And I said, well, how do you get around it? He goes, dude, there's so many different ways. And they look at you like you're dumb for not knowing. He goes, that stuff that you put, your hand sanitizer. My kids carry it on their backpacks to school.
The gel clear hand sanitizer.
It's clear, so you load your pants up with that in one area, and then you kind of manipulate it to where it cleans off your hands as you walk back for your check from the umpire. I looked at him, I go, people do this? He goes, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's weird parts of the glove you put it in. So they give it kind of the cursory look. But when the camera did zoom in, you see his thumb is just caked with brown stuff. And you're like, all right, man, that's the bottom of the ball. Like, that's how you spin that thing, right? Like, so it was just interesting. Nothing happened to him. Probably nothing's going to happen to him, but definitely an interesting one.
There's one person that I'm confident is not using sticky stuff. That would be tonight's starter for the Padres, Matt Waldron. Because the last thing he wants to do is spin the ball. And you do not want any extra spin coming off when you try to throw a knuckleball.
He's
actually got sandpaper. He's trying to smooth
Yeah,
it out.
that's exactly knuckleballers are known for cheating in the past.
They are.
No, but they're not doctoring their hands. They're doctoring the ball to try to make it more chaotic and unpredictable. Correct. When they throw that knuckleball and make it flutter and dance even more. And that's why the emery board, the thumbtacks that cause the ball to actually move more. That's different than the kind of cheating that's been going on lately in baseball.
There's been so many good videos over the years of the pitchers getting checked and stuff. Nothing will ever top Phil Niekro reaching into his back pocket, pulling the emery board out, and throwing his hands up wildly, and you see the emery board flying from his hand. But the hands go like, what, me? And you see a board fly from his hand.
Right onto the infield where the entire crowd can see it. Everyone on television can see it. It's like, who, me?
Me?
I would never.
It was the big hand throw. The big one, just what?
And then, that's just for my fingernails because I need to have them well manicured to throw a good knuckleball. It's nothing weird going on here.
Look, nothing's ever changed in baseball. Nothing's ever going to change. All these guys are going to be looking for an edge of some sort. But I found it interesting last night. He got beat. Tyler Glasnow got beat. So how about Ellie De La Cruz? Holy smokes! Now I only stopped. turned it off in like the fifth. He had 4 steals already in the 5th inning, Ben. He
didn't get any more after
He didn't get any more? 4 steals in 5 innings is insane. He is such a freak to watch. Very excited to play them next.
By the way,
after the Braves.
Speaking of giveaway items, we were just talking about the Spencer Strider records they're going to give out. Apparently, it was pretty much a zoo at Dodger Stadium last night. They had the Shohei Ohtani bobblehead, the first one. But it was only for the first 40,000 fans, and they had like 53,000.
Yeah.
And Dodger fans knew it. So they were all like getting there like 2 hours before the game, and it was chaos because everyone was arriving early. And they said it was pretty crazy last night at Dodger Stadium for the Shohei Ohtani bobblehead.
Okay, so you get a bobblehead. You put it on eBay. What would you think the top price would be for a Shohei Ohtani bobblehead? What do you think it would be set?
No, you had to go to the trouble of getting tickets to the game,
right?
Going to the game.
What are you selling it for? If you list it,
I'm listing it for $200.
There are Shohei Ohtani bobbleheads on eBay right now for $5,000.
And then
I just looked on eBay right now, not searching highest to lowest, just whatever popped up.
Yeah.
$380.
Okay,
there are
$206.
So what they did also, there was like 2% of them were in road gray jerseys, and those are even more valuable
rare.
and rare. So I think those are being sold
Those
for
are
even
expensive
more.
ones.
$3,100 for the gray.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
This one's going for $1,300.
Can you imagine-
$2,500.
Imagine paying that for a bobblehead.
$1,600.
What
It's insane.
What could Joe and Theo net me? I have one at home. I wouldn't do it. I'd have, I what do you think that would net me?
Did you take it out of the box already?
It's out of the box.
Then you've already wrecked the
value is down.
You can get one of those on eBay for $45.
Okay.
$25. $32.
All right. Not bad. Not bad at all.
We need some callers here. We asked the question, Woods' Kierkegaard quote from the other day in the roundtable. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. I would like to know whether Padres fans truly believe the Rockies series was a pivotal moment in the 2024 season or a blip on the radar. Like, what's your true emotions about that series? Because it feels to us like there's panic in the air among fans, but that's not always truly the case with everybody. Do you really think that the Padres just showed that they're now headed in the wrong direction, or are you more convinced by what was happening before? The Padres, a team that was building some momentum and playing good baseball. What do you really think? Give us a call, 833-288-0973. I am curious what the real temperature of Padres fans is, and this is ahead of our conversation with Mike Shildt coming up at 9 o'clock. If you want to call us now, 833-288-0973. We'll get to that after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Guys, it's been a while since I reported a ladder in lanes, but we've got one in the right lane, eastbound 54, right before the 125. Fortunately, no other incidents or accidents on our roads at this time. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Apparently, Padres fans do want to tell us their opinion of what's going on because instantly full phone lines here at 833-288-0973. Blip on the radar or very telling series against the Colorado Rockies. Let's try Jamie. You're on with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Jamie.
Hey guys, it's been an interesting. For me, it's different. It's been better at times, and then you get some of these slips like losing to the Rockies and losing to the Phillies. I'm a season ticket holder. I've been there for a long time, and I watch every game, even when I'm not at the ballpark. And some of it is just, we hear about the effort and all the thing and their fight and all that, but it doesn't come across that way for me as a fan. Like, some of the things that happen, like that. Either that night with the bases loaded, 1 out, and Manny Machado comes up and swings at the first pitch and hits into a double play, and my buddy and I are like beside ourselves, like, how is that a smart baseball play when this guy has been and the Rockies have walked, what was it, 8 batters, and then he comes back and tells us that after the next day that he's going to continue doing stuff like that, and for me it's like, yes, the biggest ego we had is gone, which is great. I think we're a much better team without Soto, but we still seem to have the egos and the overpayment. I mean, if you look just with Bogarts and Machado's, the amount of money we're paying these two guys, that's why my buddy go, bro, that's like $65 million there that we're paying a year. I say we because I pay a whole shitload of money. Sorry.
All right.
All right, Jamie, I do appreciate the call, and you got to keep it clean next time. But
I don't want to rehash the whole Manny situation from Tuesday. If you want to hear that, you can go back and listen on the Odyssey app. I do appreciate the call. I do appreciate a season ticket holder too, man. That just isn't sure yet. I think that's, if you can glean anything from that, it is that he's just unsure. Which is, I think, a very common theme.
I would disagree with his take that we're a much better team without Soto.
I would too. Production wise, certainly. And listen, I know that Juan Soto did not light it up here like he's done so far. How is he doing? I haven't seen anything from him recently. We'll get our chance to see him next week when he comes to town. I absolutely think it's
batting .302, 9 home runs.
Well, yeah, but he was hitting like 350 with 9 home runs a couple weeks ago. He's definitely cooled off a little bit, but like we were talking about
OPS
the Dodgers,
920.
but then Aaron Judge heats up, and then someone else carries them. The Padres haven't gotten that like the Yankees have gotten this season.
Correct.
You don't have, even if you're Juan Soto, Manny Machado, whoever, you don't have to be hot 162 games.
You can't be, actually. I mean, it's really, really hard to do.
You have to have guys who, occasionally take turns being hot and carrying the team. And the Padres haven't had those guys. Jurickson Profar has done it so far. That's not the guy you're counting on or paying to do that. You're paying other guys really to be the guys who put the team on their back and carry them. And those guys have not done it so far.
But I can understand the is that a word? Unsuredness? He's just unsure. Uncertainty. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. The uncertainty of being a Padres fan. And again, Elston yesterday with that record for the last 3 years is you're essentially a 500 team, which I just don't think anybody thought. But
aren't like the Yankees essentially a 500 team the last 3 years too?
Good point.
I mean,
it's a good point.
It's not only the Padres who have played 500 baseball with talented players on their roster.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, but they have skins that they can point to, and they have
long
that
time ago.
Well, yeah, a long time ago.
Well, maybe that changes the emotion level of their fan base.
Yeah.
Knowing they have championships in the past, it really doesn't matter. Just like the back of a baseball card. 27 World Series titles. You know how that helps you winning another one this year? Zero, none at all.
But I think for the fans, at least you have something. Yeah, you've done it before. You can do it again. Getting that first one obviously is really hard.
Let's go to David. You're next up. Keep it clean, David, please, on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, bud.
And I have to tell you, in all honesty, I'm not a huge Padres fan, but I'm going to tell you, I think this is a blip on the radar. I umpired baseball for a number of years, and I've seen cream rise to the top, and I think, just like what you're saying, I think that Manny and Tatis and Bogarts are all going to come around at some point during the year, but, baseball is all about numbers. You're going to have a bad slide, and you're going to have a good slide. I'm actually a Rockies fan, so I was happy to see what happened this weekend. But
you son of a bitch.
All right, David,
I'm a Royals and Rockies fan, so I've suffered a lot. But it's fun to go to the games and watch them play. But I think the fans are just a little too worked up at this point. That's my.
I
take
think
on the
this
whole
is
thing
really
right now.
telling, David. Thank you so much for the call. I think it's really telling that I get the sense that neutral observers have more faith in the Padres than Padres fans sometimes.
Well, because I think Padre fans are in it. A neutral observer, like you said, he's like, I watch the games. It's fun to go to games. But the Padres fans are in it.
Yeah,
They're knee
but a
deep in
neutral
it.
observer looks and goes, yeah, they got a pretty good roster, a lot of talented players. It's one series. They had been playing well earlier. Why would the fan base be panicking right now? They don't understand why you're so upset and why you're so nervous about the team going forward after a bad series. Yeah, sure, it was the Rockies, but Rockies were, they look and they say, the Rockies were kind of hot, caught them at a good time. That's just what happens in baseball. Why are Padres fans so up in arms after this series? Those are the neutral observers. The Padres fans, meanwhile, are, here we go again. This is the beginning of the end. We knew this was coming, and now our worst fears are being realized. That's the sense that I get.
Impending doom. Yes.
All right, we will continue with this conversation after we talk with Jake Mintz of Cespedes Family Barbecue. He will be up next talking baseball on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Friday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Just an hour away from the sit down with the skipper. We do it every week. Mike Shildt going to join us at 9 a.m. from Atlanta. Got a plethora of things to talk to the skipper about this morning. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And he, recent MLB Network fame. Congratulations. How has your life changed?
Not all that much, actually, in the last 24 hours since going on with Trevor May and A.J. Przinsky, but it was a fun experience. Yeah. Let's see. We do have standing by right now, though, our friend from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Our weekly Friday chat is brought to you by the folks at Grand Old Barbecue, and Jake Mintz does not appear to be on a bicycle or on a back road of New York State, is joining us right now on 97.3 The Fan. Jake, good morning.
Good morning, my beautiful people. I thought I would dress up like AJ Przinsky for today's show.
And
with
you
the
did.
Backwards hat.
Yep, you did.
Yeah.
You did. He was he's an interesting cat, man. He was like adamantly against the Dylan Cease trade to San Diego, and I would say that's Dylan Cease has been one of the few bright spots for the San Diego Padres this season. Got a chance to talk to him and interview him the other day. A really interesting guy. He's the most left-handed right-hander I think I've ever met or interviewed. That's
a really good way of describing Dylan Cease.
He's a left-hander in a right-hander's body. He's a really good dude, and I think that was a great trade.
He and Spencer Strider are birds of the same feather.
Correct. Both righties think lefty.
Both righties who move like lefties. Exactly right. How's everything going in San Diego?
It's
Beautiful
fantastic.
Friday morning over there?
Great Friday
no
morning.
Panicking
no
at all
panic
around these
here
parts.
At all. Everyone is dialed in, and the boys are ready to take on Atlanta this weekend.
Nothing gets you ready for a series against probably the best team in the National League, like getting mollywopped by the purple and black Colorado Rockies. Look, no one game or series over the regular season is cause for concern or celebration. However, if there ever was one for concern, it would be the one that was just played at Petco Park, because yuck.
Yeah, it sucked.
You're the neutral observer we were just talking about, though. We got the sense that Padres fans are actually more concerned than maybe neutral observers are about the Padres, because you can kind of explain it away. I mean, your name on the chat is Rocks Are Too Hot, and they are, but we didn't really give the Rockies any credit for being hot coming into this series. We still thought Padres need to take care of business, sweep, or 2 out of 3 at the worst. And when they got swept, obviously the sky feels like it is falling, even if Mike Shildt says it is not.
Padres fans need to be thankful for Mr. Rob Manfred, who made the decision a number of years ago to take the playoffs and expand them. Because right now, the Padres are clinging to the final spot in the National League wild card, which is a comical distinction at this point in the season. Who cares? It's May 17th. We're not looking at the wild card standings. However, this is relevant because the middle of the National League is butt. It is very
That's a baseball analysis term that you get. Yeah.
Okay. I can break it down more complicated if you want, but just know, Padres fans, the middle of the NL is straight. But every other fan base is having the same level of consternation that you're feeling right now. Okay, you're one game, or you're basically neck and neck with the Diamondbacks, Nationals, Mets, Pirates, Giants, Reds, Cardinals, or whatever, right? Those are the teams. All those fan bases are having the same sky is falling conversation right now. There are 5 good teams in the NL, and then everyone else is fine. The Padres are probably the most talented of the group of teams that is distinctly fine, and that's not a terrible position to be in. And so as long as none of the important players get hurt, or Petco Park falls into the sea, or the Pirates lose 15 in a row, let's just shelve all the panic and we'll talk in a month. All right?
Yeah, I mean, when we talked to Brett Boone a couple weeks ago, he goes, man, you kind of know what you have after about 50 games. And I submit to Brett, and I submit to you, and I submit to everyone out there. We've been following this team every pitch for the last 6 years that we've been a show together. I still can't figure it out.
You never know.
I never
You
know.
never know what you have.
You never know what you have with this team. They look like world beaters. Then they look horrific and lifeless and listless. And I know, that the guys are trying and working and grinding and all that stuff, man, because that's what they do. but it's just a real hard team to figure out.
Yeah, and it will always be that way because the baseball gods, Woods, they hate you.
Oh, I know.
They hate you specifically.
No, I know.
And they want
100%.
nothing but pain
I know.
and confusion for you.
Yep.
But not you, Ben.
Oh, thank you.
They
I
love
appreciate
Ben.
it. By the way, I just want to go on the record that I am more than fine with all the hand-wringing and consternation that will happen when the 95-plus win Brewers, Cubs, Phillies, Braves, and Dodgers all make the playoffs, and the 83-win Padres then go on a run right through all of them in the playoffs, and everyone's going, what's going on here? This
We
team
gotta
shouldn't
change
even. We got to
this."
change the whole format of the postseason. I will be more than fine with that come October if that happens.
There is gunpowder pouring into the hot take cannons as we speak, months in advance. Yeah, it's fine. Like everything, it's all fine. You know, the Padres aren't great, and they're not terrible.
So speaking of Dylan Cease, we're talking to Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue. We chatted with him in the dugout this week for an interview. Good stuff. And I asked him about the pitching injuries of especially the high-velocity guys in baseball. Your colleague Jordan wrote about that this week in Yahoo. Dylan said, yeah, I know it's a thing, and I know I throw hard, and I can't really worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about it. What's your take on, and Jordan, what he wrote about the rash of pitching injuries, especially to the high velo guys right now, like Spencer Strider as well?
It's like driving a car, right? Like you can't get hurt if you're crawling along, right? And pitching is the same thing. The
You can
harder
get
you
hit.
throw,
You can get hit hard though if you're crawling on the mound.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And like velocity is a double-edged sword because on one hand, you need it to survive in today's game. If you go out there throwing 92, you better have something else that makes you special because otherwise you're getting crushed. But at the same time, it makes it more likely that your arm's going to pop because our human bodies were not meant to handle that level of stress, evidently, right? And so the sense that I get from talking to players from being at the yard all the time is this is the cost of doing business in a sad way. And I think that the pitcher injuries were presented as something of an epidemic, right? This unstoppable rise of missed time. And I do think it is a problem, right? Baseball fans want to be able to watch Spencer Strider and Shane McClanahan and Shohei Ohtani and all these guys pitch. But I don't think players see it that way. I think players are like, that's unfortunate. That really stinks. Let's get back as soon as I possibly can, because you need to change the incentives if you want anything to switch, and telling pitchers not to throw as hard is never really going to mean anything. Now, one aspect that I actually think is interesting is which teams are getting a lot of injuries. So if you look at, pitcher injuries by team, the Rays and the Dodgers are really high up there. And they're also two of the teams that are very skilled at developing pitchers, at developing velocity. And I think that's only another data point that those two things do go hand in hand.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, you just saw yesterday the news came down. Emmett Sheehan, who has not pitched this year for the Dodgers, but he's going under the knife as well. Tommy John, and they've churned out so many up there, high velo guys. And Glasnow went out last night. Didn't have his best stuff certainly, but he's one. If you're a Dodger fan, aren't you kind of just like, oh God, everyone's getting hurt, and Tyler Glasnow's continuing to make starts. Dylan Cease is probably the one guy on the team that I worry about that happening to, just because he throws really, really hard.
Yeah, I don't want it to impact the way that we think as fans. I think that's unfortunate.
Yes.
I'm a huge cycling dude, and there's this thing in cycling that happens all the time is when someone does really good cycling performance, it's like, well, they must be on
they're doping.
the juice. They must be doping, right? And I think that it's just such an unfortunate mentality to have. And I know it's a little different with pitcher injuries, but let's do our best as people who enjoy the game to just watch it. And if someone's arm explodes, someone's arm explodes. I know that's really difficult because it's unavoidable, right? And it's impacting our game every day on such an obvious level. But I and many other people are clueless how to fix it, right? I don't think there's any easy solution. We can identify problems all we want. One that was presented to me that I thought was compelling was like, look, we're not going to tell guys to not throw as hard. We're not going to create like a maximum velocity. Let's focus on getting the surgery and the rehab process as good as we possibly can to get the time of return down, right? So if you can shrink that window, you're getting guys back on the field quicker. That seems like an area where things could improve. Again, I know nothing about medicine, but I just thought that was an interesting nugget.
Talking to Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue here on Ben and Woods. And Jake and Jordan Woods, you've probably seen this. they're trying to make something into a thing. And it's a really clever thing. I just don't know how it's going for them. And the thing, Jake, is when a team gets loses all 3 games of a series, it's a sweep.
Yeah.
But they're trying to make, if you get swept in a 4-game series, it's not swept, you get mopped.
Mops, yeah.
In a 4-game series. I think it's really clever. Is it catching on, though? Are you seeing some traction with that?
Listen, man, patience is key.
That's right.
Gordon came up with this idea, I want to say 2 years ago. Life is a long
season.
I think he came up with this idea a couple years ago, and we did get, I believe the Nationals mopped a team this year and tweeted, "We mopped," or put it in the the guide, the media guide.
That's a win.
And so we're getting there. I think it's a good distinction just because there are so few opportunities over the course of a season to win 4 in a row, and a mop is better than a sweep, right? And so we track all the opportunities across the season. Now, we were presented with a particularly tricky one this week because the Phillies and the Mets had a 4-game set that was 2-2. It was a home and home. Just because they're so close together, they could do this. And it's based upon the London series. So they're playing those 2 games over there. So that got the schedule all wonky, bruv. And so they had to do 2 in New York and then 2 in Philly. Is that a mop? If it's 4 games in a row and 2
2-game series, not a 4-game.
Because the Phillies
series.
had won 3. I'd say that's a mop. You beat the same team 4 times, granted in 2 different ballparks, but I think you would say the Mets got mopped there.
I mean, if it's a playoff series, it's always the same, 2-2, but you call it a 4-game sweep. I mean, why would not we be a 4-game mop in the postseason?
Yeah, not to be a whole stickler here, but I will be, is we actually don't think mops apply to the postseason for a variety of different reasons. We think the off day kind of changes things there. In our minds, it is going to the ballpark 4 days in a row and looking the other team in the face and saying, we are definitively better than you every day. You do not get a break. We will crush you. I'm so sorry about that. I feel like this would have been a mop. Thankfully, the Phillies biffed last night's game and lost to the game 4 to the Mets. I think that it is the same umpiring crew is a good piece of evidence. We asked Twitter this, and Twitter 50.9% said yes and 49.1 said no. So that's why America, we vote. We're a democracy, which is why that's sometimes.
What's a 2-game series then? Is it a dustpan, or what is just
a dusting?
Less than a dusting, a sweep,
so back-to-back
and a mop.
dustings.
Yeah,
dustings. we want to see if your team wins 3 in a row. We get people bringing brooms all the time. Bring in a mop. Send us a picture at Cespedes BBQ. Bring a mop into the yard. If they say, "Hey, you can't bring that in there," you say, "Well, actually, it's for the upcoming mop." And then the security guard will say, "Oh, duh."
Just shove it down your pants.
We've got the Padres and Braves, a wraparound, first of 4 tonight. All I know is Tuesday morning, if the Padres mop the Braves, we will be on cloud 9.
That's right.
And if the Braves mop the Padres, it's going to be a nightmare here, Jake.
Burn it down.
No doubt.
Hey, if the Padres mop the Braves, I would like to come on Tuesday morning.
Done.
For a special edition of my.
We'll get you a mop sponsorship for the whole thing.
Settle down. We can't get you a mop
That's
sponsorship.
a lie, Jake. We won't be having that.
We will not be getting you a sponsorship. Okay? All right. Thank you, buddy.
Jake, thank you. Have a great weekend. Appreciate it as always.
Mop it up.
Mop it up.
There is Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Our weekly conversations brought to you by Grand Ole Barbecue in Flynn Springs, North Park, at the ballpark. If you're feeling like some BBQ this weekend, maybe some brisket, ribs, pulled pork, you're not going to find any better than Grand Ole Barbecue. Is authentic, as Texas as it can get in San Diego. Very, very good stuff. Good stuff from Jake, as always.
Always.
All right, if you want to get back on our phone lines, 833-288-0973. We are assessing the level of confidence and lack of confidence in your San Diego Padres this morning. You can join us, 833-288-0973. Paul's got a Reindl Report coming up at the bottom of the hour as well. All ahead with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't forget, we're just over a month out of the third annual Ish Chrome Tour Ben & Woods Open. We would love to see you out at Goat Hill Park with us on June 19th. We've got 2 shotguns. We got the morning option and the afternoon option, depending on your schedule. Either way, it's going to be a great day of golf, prizes. We've got food. We got drinks, beers from Virgin, which is my favorite. I think the best brewery in San Diego. All going to be for all the participants out at the third annual Ish Chrome Tour Ben & Woods Open. You can sign up on our social media channels right now. Get the link. Get your foursome together, or if it's just you or twosome, we can put you and pair you together with like-minded tier ones. It's a good community.
It's great. It's a great community, man.
And it's a great spot. My brother just played at Goat Hill last week, and he said it is in such great shape right now. It is really one of the most fun courses you can play in San Diego, and it's great for players of different abilities as well, because it's not Torrey Pines where it's 7,800 yards and just like miserable once you get off the tee. It's shorter, but it's a lot of fun to play at.
Yeah, and it's not stodgy either. She can wear shorts and a t-shirt, man. That's a really cool part of about Goat Hill. And we got some killer prizes. Padres stepped up too, man. Created a killer basket for us with some tickets. We're going to have the Odyssey Suite as well that you can win when you're out there. We got really good prizes. It's going to be awesome. Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Paulie just put the link up in the chat, too, as well.
Let's go back out to our phones, 833-288-0973. Let's go to line 4. Is this Jason?
Hey, this is actually Ryan from
Ryan.
Carlsbad.
All right, that's all right. We're going by some caller ID, so it's a little hit or miss
no
sometimes.
worries. Yeah, I don't know who Jason is, but I have a couple things. I think there's some consistencies and some inconsistencies. So one thing that I think is obviously consistent is we lose to the Rockies, right? So the Rockies, I hate the Rockies. I see purple, I get mad. I thought it was funny that the purple guy called in, like get your own radio channel kind of thing, but not being mean. But anyways, I think that we're 100% going to be inconsistent all year long, or unpredictable rather. And that it is what it is. That comes with being a Friar fan. But the one thing that I think I haven't heard anyone talking about is Manny has a newborn at home. So if anyone has had a baby, you know that really messes with your mind. And you see him step up the plate. He just doesn't seem like he's there, right? And I think that as time goes on a little bit and he gets used to the baby at home, maybe he'll want to play some baseball. But, yeah, I was at one of the games for the series, and it was just watching him play, he had no passion, not even running down the line, obviously hitting into all the double plays, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think I'm not panicking, but getting swept by the Rockies sucks, and, it is what it is. But how do we just beat the Dodgers, the Cubs in their series, and then get swept by the Rockies? It's because we're playing Padre baseball, and that's what the game's all about. So
and especially against that team, especially against the Rockies. I say it every year. I get sick to my stomach when I see those guys, and especially at Coors Field. But now Petco Park's no different. They give us fits every single time. We got to figure out a way to get over that Rockies hump, man. You just have to figure out a way. Like whatever the Yankees are doing to the Twins, that's what you got to figure out how to be against the Rockies, where you just own them, and they just don't have a shot. And they shouldn't have a shot. You have better players. But we got, in that series, I thought, man, they changed a lot of their approaches. They changed a lot of the way that their pitchers went out and attacked the zone differently because they saw some weaknesses in our team. They exploited them. We didn't. We thought we could roll out of bed and take 2 of 3 at a minimum. And we got embarrassed pretty badly.
I'm also not going to say that having a baby doesn't have an effect. We both have kids. It's certainly a major life change and experience. Even if you already have kids, it's a big thing when you've got a newborn in the house. It doesn't mean that you're definitely distracted and not playing well. And, Bryce Harper had a baby at the same time. His OPS...
That's not his first baby, though.
It's not the first, but, he came right back. He's got 6 homers since then, an OPS over 1,100. He's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball with a newborn at home. Yeah, it's a different lifestyle change. I don't know if it has any effect at all, though. You can't just say, well, Manny's distracted by the baby at home. That's not why he's playing well. Some people would say, going to work with all the stress at home of a new baby is freeing and can, let guys thrive also at the same time. It's just you can't just say if A, then B, that one definitely has something to do with the other.
Yeah, I see a lot of, well, he's rich, so clearly it's easier. It's not. I'm not rich, but I know it's not easy for anyone, ever. And we don't know everything that there is to know, I do know this, man. I'm not overly concerned about him. I am concerned, but I'm not overly concerned. I just have seen him too many times figure it out and get locked in and, help with the gloves, certainly. The running down the line stuff, I don't think he's ever going to get past those allegations, ever. I just don't think, the funny thing about Manny is he's never been fast. He wasn't fast in Baltimore. He never had elite sprint speed. I understand sometimes the way it looks. You're talking about a guy with a couple knee surgeries, that ankle that he ripped from the bone last year.
He's always been the same player.
He's always been the same player.
If he had Ellie De La Cruz dogging it up the line,
sure.
Fernando dogging it up the line,
that's a different.
That would look way worse.
It never even enters into my mind because I just know that's that player. So
remember, even in 2022, when he was a 6.8 WAR player, I think second in the MVP voting in the National League, had a huge season. He had the ankle injury that he played through. He was terrible for an entire month.
He was,
and you can say, well, that was because of the ankle injury. Well, why can't you say because he's coming off elbow surgery, he's had a really rough first 6 weeks of the season here? But he might still end up being the guy who he was in 2022 this year. We all, because in hindsight, we know he had a really good season.
Of course,
we all just say, well, he had a big slump because he had the ankle injury. You don't have that hindsight yet, but it's certainly very possible that, recovering from the elbow surgery and trying to get locked in is just the same as like trying to deal with a bad ankle for a month. When he hit like 180, 190 or something in June, and the rest of the year, he was clearly the best player in the National League. If he didn't have that month, I think we said at the time, if he had sat out and gone to the injured list, he would have been the MVP that year.
Yep, for sure.
But because he played through it to try to help his team, he probably cost himself an MVP award in 2022. There's no chance that, Manny is just having a little more trouble locking in because he's trying to push himself to be on the field.
Yeah, potentially.
And, rush himself back as early as possible.
Nobody knows really what's wrong with him. It's just he's just not locked in right now. He's just not squaring up the baseball like we're used to seeing. So I'm not too worried about him, to be honest. And this I disagree with. Corey says he plays for the back of the sports cards, not the name on the front of the jersey. The guy the other day before the ground ball in the ninth inning was out at a local school meeting kids. He does a ton in this community, so I think that's an unfair criticism. Criticize him all you want. I'll criticize him. He's been terrible this year, but that I think that's not a great take. In my opinion, he does a ton in San Diego, cares about the community, cares about the city. I think that's unfair.
I mean, ultimately, in every sport, but especially in baseball, the better you do individually, the better your team does. It's okay to want to do well for yourself because that helps your team win games,
right,
which is the ultimate goal. How do you separate the two?
I don't know. I mean, and again...
I guarantee you, if you gave Manny the option, you guys can win the World Series, but you have your worst season personally, or you guys can finish last and you have your best season personally, he'd take the World Series win and have his worst season personally. I have no doubt about that.
I have no doubt either. But hey, listen, right now he's a lightning rod, 100%, and he will be. He will be for the rest of the 10 years that he's here. He's going to be a lightning rod. He also knows that, and he knows that he has the capability, I think, of getting hot, getting on a streak, making ridiculous plays. We've all seen it, so I think it'll come. I'm hopeful that it will. And if it doesn't, hey, try again next year. I don't know what to tell you. We've got him for a while, so.
Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for 97.3 The Fans commercial-free Padres Roundtable. Can you imagine if it was every morning? Like Adam said, this roundtable thing is going so well. We're going to make it a daily feature every single.
Can you dump him? Just dump him because it's not like that's out of the realm of possibility.
I'm going to go ahead and nix that even
Adam
myself.
Gets so excited, and he sends us like people that like the roundtable. He sends us like texts and stuff about it, how great. And I'm like, if you say it, he'll be like, why can't we do it every day?
All right, it's the daily 14-hour roundtable with all of our hosts from 6 a.m.
What do we
until
say?
6 p.m. every single day, 12 hours every day.
We don't give him any ideas. Oh, he just hit us in the chat. He's listening.
Boy.
You can't dump the chat either, so on the YouTube stream.
Nope.
By the way, that roundtable is brought to you by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout and delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza. All right, we'll come back. Paulie will give us some headlines. A little early Reindl Report as we get ready for Mike Shildt and the Friar Friday Management Report, or Managers Report at 9 o'clock. Ahead with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, happy Friday. It is your old pal Woods.
This hour of Ben Woods brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. I'll have to admit, not having a Padres game yesterday was okay.
It was refreshing.
I was okay with that.
I needed it.
I'm ready, though, to get back to baseball today.
Me too.
I'm excited, actually,
I
to
am
get
too.
back to baseball
I'm excited.
today.
They're a good team, and
They got a good pitcher, they're a good team.
Yep.
It's like, I feel like almost like house money tonight. Go and do your best against the Atlanta Braves.
Hey, you're on the road. You've played better on the road. You've played better against better competition than you have worse competition. You've played better on the road than you have at home. All right, fine. Let's roll. I don't care. Just win some games, man. Want to see the guys. Want to see the guys play well and play clean baseball, and some timely hitting would be really, really solid too. Atlanta's going to be nuts. I heard the weather's pretty crappy in Atlanta right now, so I'm actually kind of hoping for a delay myself. Game starts what time local? 4:20. 4:20. Paulie.
It's always 4:20.
I would like a nice 7:20 start tonight.
Well, that's not going to happen.
It might.
Well, they started at 10:20
maybe
Eastern. That seems a little late for the kids in the crowd to get a game going that
I don't know that
late.
I've ever heard anybody lobby for a 3-hour rain delay.
Sports writers in Atlanta are not going to be fans of Stephen Woods.
I don't care.
If you just spoke a 3-hour rain delay.
Sorry,
into
Jesse.
existence
Sorry,
tonight.
Tony. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, all of you guys.
You just murdered Sam Levitt.
I murdered him. I'm sorry, but I have we have the school fair.
Oh, I see.
Bit tonight.
Sammy, you can replay the roundtable from yesterday for one of your hours
Just
of rain
replay
delay
Ben
theater.
Woods. It's great.
Throw in the Dylan Cease interview. We got,
There's
today's
plenty.
the Mike Shildt interview that's coming up in 20 minutes. We're programming your rain delay theater tonight for the Eco Water SoCal pregame show.
Yeah,
It's going to last 4 hours.
Yeah, we've got the school fair thing where we go and buy art that our kids have made, fundraiser type scene, and then I would like to.
How high is that going to go on the bidding?
I think I'm not joking when I say this. I think a chair there sold last year for like $1,000.
A chair?
Yes.
The kids are making
They painted
chairs?
it.
Oh, they didn't make the actual
It's not
chair.
a sweatshop, wood shop. Taylor's in there just sanding like a chair.
Am I sitting on a chair made by kindergartners? Preschoolers right now in their child labor factory.
I do think a chair went for literally like $1,000 last year. I'm not kidding. So I'm
Kid's got a
going.
future.
I'm going to that tonight. So.
All right, we're going to check traffic. Paulie's got some headlines in the Reindl Report on the other side here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Well, it continues to be a pretty uneventful ride, but no complaints, guys. Our Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows you're in pretty good shape on that westbound 8 heading through Mission Valley. The daily jackpots at Viejas Casino and Resort are on fire. Players have hit huge wins with bets as low as 50 cents. Check out their jackpot winning smiles on the Viejas Facebook page. Want to join them? Who knows? The next jackpot winner could be you. Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right. It's the Reindl Report, brought to you by the Frozen Ropes Summer Baseball League. The Frozen Ropes is now registering ball players age 6 through 12. Go to San Diego FrozenRopes.com for more information. Gentlemen, we will start off in the NBA playoffs. Had 1 game last night. Timberwolves taking on the Nuggets. This game was in Minnesota. And the Nuggets had a 3-2 series lead heading into this game, and my God, Minnesota put the damage to them. 115-70 was the final score. This game was over pretty quickly. Denver just pulled everybody and said, all right, time to gear up.
I think that's a smart
7.
strategy. Don't chase a game that's already toast. I get it. It's 1 of 7, and you can't really punt on playoff games. But they punted on a playoff game and said, we'll get them back.
You kind of have to
in our arena in Game 7. They were down 20 early. It's like, do we want to spend all of our energy trying to get back into this game, or do we want to save it up for a Game 7 on our home floor? And they chose the latter. We'll see. Maybe they'll regret that. But
baseball teams have to do it. It's never fun when it happens. Hopefully, the
people get mad when baseball teams do it in Game 40 of a 162-game regular season. There are NBA teams that are punting on playoff games in the second round still.
It is so true, man. It's hopefully Max Fried just gets lit in the first inning, and he's got to sit out there and wear it for 7-8 runs tonight. That's my dream.
Interesting.
So we got Game 7 there. What do we got tonight? We have the Knicks and the Pacers. That game is in Indianapolis or Indiana, and the Knicks have a 3-2 series lead. They tip off at 5:30 tonight on ESPN. See if the Knicks can close that out and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now,
or
Anthony
will they
Edwards
punt on the road again and try to get back to Game 7? I don't think that their fans are stressed like Padres fans. Knicks fans are like Padres fans. They're waiting for the sky to fall.
Inevitable. Yeah,
they don't want to go to a Game 7.
It's a good comparison, actually.
I think they're going to be going all out to win this one.
Does that make you sick to think about the Padres in a Game 6 where they could win it and they lose it, and you're like, I can't watch.
Or a Game 5 in Philadelphia 2 years ago. It makes me kind of sick to think about that.
Real quick, back to that Timberwolves-Nuggets game last night. Anthony Edwards had 27 points.
Are you going to play it?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to play
good.
it. If you haven't followed Anthony Edwards, you need to start. He is one of the funniest, best players in the NBA. And this was, he was asked a question sitting at the podium last night following their 45-point win over the Nuggets. This was at home, so this is going to reference the previous game that was in Denver.
Did you really tell the locker room staffer in Denver you were going to be back for
Hell
games?
yeah. They know I was in there. Yeah, I told them. I said, I'll see y'all for Game 7.
I love it, dude.
Elite.
I love it.
Elite quote.
I'll be back. One more time. I got to hear it again. It's so good.
Did you really tell the locker room staffer in Denver you were going to be back for
Hell
games?
yeah. They know I was in there. Yeah, I told them. I said, I'll see y'all for Game 7.
He's walking out of the locker room. I'll be back.
That's confidence. That's some confidence.
Oh, I love when athletes are supremely confident like that. Michael Jordan telling his team, pack one suit.
Right.
Pack one suit. You don't need another one. We're done. We are not staying.
That's a Jordan-esque comment.
One.
That was in that was when they did 2-3-2, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. They knew that they weren't going to have to go on, that they'd win and it would be over there.
When it would be over, you pack one suit. Do not pack anything else. Pack for one day. Oh, amazing. I thought that was so cool, dude. Yeah, he got up and walked out after that. Amazing.
So the other night, I think it was Wednesday night, the NFL schedule releases came out. Every single team now has to do the big production, the big video unveiling their schedule. I saw a lot of very creative ones from all the teams. I kind of like that that's now a thing. All the teams are competing against each other for, maybe celebrity cameos or the most creative schedule release videos.
They were amazing too.
They were
amazing.
Really
amazing.
Now we haven't really talked about the schedule too much. We've talked about like the Christmas games are going to be on Netflix this year, and they will have some international games, but you might notice that the New York Jets, who did not have a good year last year, of course, they lost their starting quarterback, 30 seconds into the first game of the year, but they still have Aaron Rodgers, who's expected to be there all season long. They've got a record 6 primetime games in the first 11 weeks. 6 night games, whether Sunday night, Thursday night, Monday night, whatever. 6 primetime games in the first 11 weeks. That's the most for any team since the merger in 1970.
They did this didn't they have a ton last year too? And they ended up having to flex a bunch of them out.
They flexed the later ones.
The later ones, yeah.
I mean, for a while. And they also, you saw the Broncos on every primetime game because they're like, well, Russell Wilson, like, they got to be good. And they were horrible. So Mike North is the NFL's vice president of broadcast planning. He did a video chat with reporters. And his quote, I thought was interesting. He said, yes, it's an awful lot of primetime games early in the season, but obviously, I feel like the Jets kind of owe us one. Do you feel that way as a fan? Like, well, we had to watch turd Jet games last year because of the injury. Like, this is a make good by them.
I mean, I'm not a complete conspiracy theorist lunatic, but if I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd buy into that one.
Yes, I would too.
That the league is out to get the Jets for some reason and forcing them to play all these primetime games.
Says he goes on. He says, when we had this conversation a year ago, all of us, we were all in on the Jets, and for that guy to last 4 plays was disheartening for many of us. This is the NFL employee. I feel like we could run it back, and certainly our broadcast partners, when they came to us early in the process talking about what storylines they want to focus on early, obviously Aaron Rodgers' return was a key win for everybody. So you get a lot of Aaron Rodgers on primetime games.
I mean, maybe. Maybe.
I thought very subtly, I didn't see anyone talking about this, the funniest schedule release, not video, but the actual game. They're making the Chargers play the Cardinals on ESPN Plus only on October 21st, opposite the real Monday Night Football game between the Ravens and the Bucs that everyone's going to watch. And you have to get an ESPN Plus subscription to watch the Chargers-Cardinals game on October 21st and not care about the other game between, two pretty decent teams.
All right.
I thought that was kind of funny.
That is funny.
I
didn't even know they had ESPN Plus only NFL games.
I did not either.
Yeah. I saw that Dan Patrick pointed out on his show that, the Taylor Swift effect is still definitely a thing in the NFL.
They had to look around.
And they were like, he goes, is this really a thing that they scheduled games coinciding with her concert tour?
Well, they had to avoid the stadiums, which she'd be playing in because she plays massive stadiums.
Well, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
But does it make sense to make sure that she can be at Travis Kelce's games
right, like
when there's big ones, that they're not opposite her concert somewhere far away?
There was one in particular, the Chiefs are playing the Bills in Buffalo, and that game is the same weekend that Taylor Swift will be having concerts in Toronto, which is like, an hour drive, hour and a half?
They're trying to entice her to attend as many games as possible, knowing
make it as easy as
the big
possible.
bump that she gives the league.
So
That's smart.
Good.
It's
smart.
It's not crazy. It's smart. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a real effect, that bringing non-football fans into the fold. Why would you make it harder on Taylor Swift to get to the games? Oh, she's got a concert in Germany the day before. Let's put the Chiefs in a huge game the next day. No. Find places where it's really convenient for her to go to the games.
All right, and finally, quickly here, the days of free refills with your soda at McDonald's may be coming to an end.
Come on.
There was a report earlier yesterday that McDonald's is going to be phasing out the self-serve soda machines between now and 2032.
Why?
They started doing the self-serve machines like 20 years ago, and they wanted to make it more convenient for you to serve yourself, get your free refills. Well, they are going to be removing that. Now, you'll have to go up to the counter. It'll be store-by-store discretion if they want to offer free refills or not, but it will be controlled
Does
by the
anyone ever
employees.
buy 2 sodas because they finished their first one and they need to get another one? No, so you're not going to sell any more sodas. You're probably make people healthier because they're not going to drink unlimited sodas, but you're making it harder on your employees that are going to have to deal with those requests at the same time. Didn't we move past this, that self-serve sodas are just a good thing that we can just keep
I would
around?
agree. They said some of their reasons were theft, which I don't understand.
That's
I guess
Ben
you
buying
get
a water glass
cup
and drinking Sprite
Fine,
out of it.
but
the amount of space that the machines take up.
The cost, though, to them of even the stolen soda is like 2 cents.
Right. The little
it adds up.
And
buddy.
they're charging.
syrup.
I mean, McDonald's doesn't charge. They only charge like $1.59 right now for any size, which is I think reasonable. Other places though will charge like $3.49 for a soda, which is crazy. It costs them like 3 cents a serving.
But here's the deal. When's the last time you actually posted up in a Mickey D's to have your meal?
That's true. Not drive-through. This is why are we even talking about this?
I know.
I did see Mickey D's, though. They're talking about bringing like $5 value meals back.
Sold.
Like a double cheeseburger,
Yeah.
fries, and a drink.
$5.
For $5. That would go crazy if that came back, because, you go to fast food now and you look like just for yourself and it's like, wow, $14. That's it's not what it used to be.
Not what it used to be, my friend.
And so they've been talking about bringing back a $5 like value meal. We'll see if they actually do it, because I think there are McDonald's owners are usually franchisees. They just buy the rights and they're going to go, people are going to come in. We're not making any money on a $5 meal anymore with food costs and labor costs. That's a loss. Unless they order something else in addition to the $5 meal, we're going to lose money on that.
Will they, though?
Close.
It's interesting.
All right, that's the Reindl Report. Good job by Paulie. When we come back, we will be joined from Atlanta, Georgia, by the manager, Mike Shildt. A Friday Manager's Report is coming up next.
Go.
Do not go anywhere. I know you're not. Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back on a Friar Friday. Final hour of the program. Padres and the Atlanta Braves, 4:20 San Diego time, 3:20 Eco Water SoCal pregame show later today, and it is time for our Manager's Report. And it is brought to you each week, of course, on the Manager's Report by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better. And joining us from Atlanta, GA, the skipper of the Padres, Mike Shildt. Mike, good morning to you. How was the trip?
Good morning, guys. Trip was smooth. Left after the game on Wednesday and had a day off in Atlanta yesterday and ready to go today.
So I wanted to ask you, because I don't know how this works, and one of the things I love about this segment is I learn something new each week. So when you guys go on a long road trip, you get on a flight, whether or not your team is coming off a good series or a tough one like the one against the Rockies. Do you like touch base with the guys on the plane and see what's going on, or do you just kind of leave them alone for the off days and let them do their thing? How does that work on a big league road trip?
Look, we spend a lot of time together, and we're on together on the flight, and there's pleasantries exchanged, but it's really a time just to kind of decompress and just let people read or watch movies or sleep or whatever they do. So I don't get in a lot of their business, and I usually talk with the staff and we get ready for the next series and kind of enjoy ourselves a little bit. But the day off's the day off, man. You're with everybody. Now people do, go play golf or, hang out together, grab dinners, but there's nothing, formally taking place on a day off.
One of the other things, Skip, we had asked Jesse Agler about, because he's, he flies with the team and stuff. And I said, man, is it, going to be a morose scene after you drop 3 straight to the Rockies? And he goes, man, really never. You'd never know if they won or lost on a plane ride after a big series or a bad series. Is that been your experience as well?
Yeah, I mean, you want the happy flight, clearly. There's some, you feel good, you win a series, you come up and win, you lose, there's a little bit, but the season's too long to create so many highs and lows that it just that'll wear you out. So you move on, man. That's the one thing about the game is the resiliency that is needed for this, and baseball guys and guys have been doing this for a while are learn to be pretty darn resilient. You have to be.
I feel like a couple of times when we've had you on this season, we've asked you about slumping players, and oftentimes they'll go out and get a couple of hits the next couple of days. Obviously Manny's been in a slump lately, and I'm not going to ask you anything specific about that, but I'm curious as a manager, and I look back at when you were with the Cardinals, and obviously you deal with slumping players all the time. Like Matt Carpenter had a huge 2018. In 2019, when you were the manager, dropped off. What can you do in terms of, psychologically, anything for a player like that that's used to having success and all of a sudden is not having it for whatever period of time? What can you do as a manager?
I think it's probably different cases. You're talking about specifically 2 players that, have been in the league a long time and have had, a lot of successes, and you clearly just want to be supportive. There's a human factor to this that people may or may not realize how real that is. I look at it tremendously, as far as just the fact that, these people are going through life, they're going through a lot of different things, and just making sure that they feel supported and valued and all the different things. And then you just talk to them about, hey, what, and I don't get, listen, the hitting stuff is, we got, really good hitting coaches that deal with that. And the player himself, that's in Manny's case and in Carp's case, they understand what they need to do it well. And so you just remind them of what that looks like, and, lend some support and just be there for them, quite honestly.
Talking to the skipper, Mike Shildt, here on Ben and Woods this morning. I like what you said the other day, towards the end of your press conference. I think you said it to Kevin Acee. You said, I live in a different place. And I wondered, and I really liked that when you said that, because that is true. You have a unique perspective that nobody else has, right? Because you're in there with the guys every single day. I did want to ask, when you talk about that different place, I know you're always backing the team. I know you're positive about the team. Is there a time for you that you can look at it and go, all right, I might have to I don't know, pound my fist on the table? Is that the Mike Shildt way at all, or is it going? Are you always just going to back your team regardless? Because we watched the series as well, and I know what didn't go the way you guys wanted it to, and I personally thought, yeah, man, Padres got outplayed after playing really, really well against the Dodgers, and you had a different opinion. So when you say I live in a different place, could you let us in there a little bit?
Yeah, I think everybody has their own lens, which is a wonderful thing about the game. Whitey Herzog, we have conversations about that and about criticism, and he said you just talk about people. It's great because people have an understanding about the game, whether through their own experiences or playing or just going to games, and that's the fun, magical part about the game of baseball. And so I'm not going to try to even come close to sharing, or thinking about other people's experience or their view. I just have mine, and mine's not like this rose-colored glasses, blind, like kumbaya, and it's all great. It's not. But I have, 30-something years of experience winning a lot of baseball games at pretty much every level, and I can discern between getting beat and beating yourselves. And, the outplayed part, it's just, it's a thin margin game.
Yeah.
And it's not like, regardless of whether it's, a team that you feel like is, clearly one of the better teams in the league, or a team that is not one of the better teams currently in the league. But I look at that series and I look at the games, and there were some interesting things that took place that don't typically happen, and I'm not going to overreact to. If you earn 11 walks and you walk and give away one walk, and then you out hit a team, you tip and you don't beat yourself defensively, you typically win by a high percentage of those times. So but sometimes you don't, and that's the thing that makes this game so stinking hard and frustrating sometimes. We basically play, so I'm a big, like, if we don't give anything away, we have the best chance to win. And if we don't give a lot away and we lose, I'm not going to start, ripping the clubhouse apart. So, the frustrating game for me was probably the last game, because we really didn't get ourselves in a position offensively to compete. But we were, and that was the frustrating thing. Now I can look up and say, okay, did the other side have anything to do with that? Well, I had Austin Gomber in St. Louis. He won his 5 games in August in 19, to help us, win our division and go to the National League Championship Series. And so I've got history with him. He threw the ball as good as I've seen him throw. He threw the ball great. His fastball was, right where he wanted to throw it. He had his changeup going. He had his curveball going. And he had 3 solid pitches that he was throwing for quality strikes. That's tough. I hate to tell you, I wish it were different. And we weren't able to scratch. That was discouraging. But that's the lens I look at. Now, if we start throwing the ball over the field, we're missing cutoff men, we're not on point with our base running. And, Kevin made a point in the press conference, which I do get. Profar got thrown out of second base trying to be aggressive and stretch a double. And was it, the most timely play? No. Did we do 10 things in that series on a base running standpoint that were completely on point that put us in position to win games? We did. Do I feel really good about that? I do. I feel really good about that. That's the lens I look at. And so hopefully I'm making sense.
Yeah, it does.
And so I look at it from how we play in the game to allow us to win games in my experiences. Now, we're not doing those things, and we're walking a lot of people, and we're making poor decisions, and we're not hitting balls hard. And also the whole series. If you look at it, you look at just the hits and you separate them in video, and I've looked at them, they didn't exactly, they just found holes. I can't explain that.
I know.
And when we hit lasers right at people, and I don't know what to tell you, so there's no, I got to tell you, I'm going to have a harder time in this clubhouse if I go around when we do things right, worried about the end result. But I get it. It's a result-driven business. People are, can rightfully get frustrated. I just don't live in that space based on what I just described.
I kind of get it now. We're talking to Mike Shildt, the manager of the Padres, and you're making a lot of sense, Mike, but we're baseball fans, and we don't think rationally all the time about such a thing. And as Padres fans, and you've complimented the Padres fans, how passionate, filling the ballpark, and I know you're sincere about that. We've talked about that both off the air and on the air. But I think the fan base just looks, and last season had a lot of the same things as well. Padres did a lot of things right last year. They outscored their opposition, and for some reason it didn't work out. So when you see a series like this, when the same things happen, when you're absolutely right, you hit line drives right at the opponents, you walk, you put yourself in position, the big hit doesn't happen. That's baseball. We as fans, I think, just go to that immediate panic place. Like, here we go again. We saw this last year, and now they're gonna fall below 500, and they're gonna have trouble getting back all year, and they're gonna lose these one-run games. It doesn't always work like that. I think we're just a little kind of scarred from how last season turned out, and that's not fair to you. I totally get that, but I think that's the place that we're coming from as fans, the questions from the media, which is reflecting the fans. We're all scared that it's going to happen again next year. You kind of understand that?
I get that completely.
Yeah.
I understand it completely. I get it. I was here in a more of a support role last year, and I saw it. And I understand it to a point. I just don't think it's fair to lump this group into the last year's group. And again, I got some serious bias here, so I try to be objective, but I start with that caveat. But first of all, there are some of the key members of this club that are back, as you know, but there's been a ton of turnover on this team, a ton, and including myself, obviously, and staff, and there's a lot of moving parts to get into where we've got it to now. And that series was super frustrating because, we put ourselves in a position to feel like we could kind of take off a little bit. And, we feel that same frustration our fan base does. But relative to like one-run games, we're already have played better in close games. We've come back way better. This team has, I don't want to compare to last year's team. All I can say is this year's team it plays fundamental baseball, not perfect baseball. That we're not going to play perfect baseball. I hate to tell you, and this is the frustrating part for me is are we ever? When are we going? And maybe it's happening. I don't know. I don't live in the world, but in that space outside of our clubhouse a whole lot. But I got to tell you, I do have to answer the questions, and that's part of it too. And it's part of the gig. I'll always own up to what we're doing. But if it's like, oh, he didn't do that right in the third inning, or you go on a 6-game road trip and go 4-2, and you're like, hey, remember when that happened? That one thing happened. Yeah, I do remember when that one thing happened that wasn't exactly perfect. This game is stinking hard, but I live in a world, back to my little world here, where I'm going to appreciate the things that do go well and some of the things that are going well and some of the resilience that this club has as a starting point and the fight that this team has. So that's a big deal for me, and I think that's going in the right direction. I know if that wasn't happening, then that would be a different conversation. Then you would, you wouldn't know about it, but then there would be a firmer version of me to say, hey, this isn't good enough. But when the effort's taking place, when the attention to detail is taking place, when the aggression properly is taking place with the club, man, I don't know what more I need to get out of this group. And it's only going to, it's only going to get better as we continue to learn each other and understand what, the next steps are for us to improve, and I feel like I have a pretty good pulse on that.
Excellent. That's Mike Shildt joins us here on Ben and Woods this morning. I wanted to ask you were quoted in an article in ESPN with Jesse Rogers, who's one of our favorite baseball writers. We have him on all the time. And it was in regards to load management. Now, we've had the conversation with you, Mike, about, it's always nice to get some new options, right? And you got Donovan Solano, who's really hitting the ball well. You got Luis Ariz, who, as we all know, hits the ball extremely well. So, it's like they say, mo money, mo problems. You have to find a way to get everybody in. And I was really interested in this article talking about how you guys are tracking basically everybody's movements all the time to see how fresh they are. How hard is that for you? Because you're going to have guys that say, do not take me out of the lineup. Period. Like, I need to be in. I want to play 158, 162 games. Is this been a learning experience for you, tracking all these movements, these motions, their effort on a day-to-day basis, and then tailoring your lineups around it?
It's another tool to reinforce what you should have a pretty good feel for.
Sure.
And, as far as being new, not necessarily. I mean, it's more supportive. This is a great topic, and Jesse does a good job, and I enjoy talking to him about this. It's something that is becoming more mainstream, but it's nothing that it's like earth-shattering relative to, my experience. I mean, it has changed a little bit relative, not necessarily with our team, our group, because these guys really like to play and love to play. But, we talked about, starters going deep in games, how that's changed over the years. If you look back, I grew up shining, Cal's shoes in 1980, and he played every single game in Double-A in 1980, including the Southern League Championship through that series that the club won. And, he came out every day for early work in Charlotte, North Carolina, that was a little bit humid in the summer. And it was, 100 degrees and humidity, and he worked every day. Early work, BP, the whole shooting match, and didn't come out one game. And then the same thing in AAA the next year, and then went on his streak, and turned out pretty good.
Yeah, very good.
And won in the big league level, won a World Series at the big league level. And so, I come from that place where guys play and guys show up and what that means to them. But also now, as you go through it, we have way more, which is great. We have performance coaches, and we have the data that you alluded to, and we have the recovery strategies that now are good. So now it's about, really being smart and with our schedule and the early work and the BP and, when we show up and all those things that allow players to use their energy in the right way when the game starts. And so that's what I pay attention to the most. And then it's an individual conversation with players. When you want a day off, I've had players, I won't get into the names, but I've had players that say, hey, you want the wraparound day off, a day off, and then like yesterday we had obviously a day off schedule. Do you want the day before or the day after? Oh no, I don't want that. I can't go 2 days in a row without playing. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely want that. Another player. Yeah, that sounds great. Another player up recently had a conversation. I never want to know. Like, hey, let's plan this out. Nope, don't tell me, just do it. Okay, that's fine. Then I've had a couple players that are really good players. Like, hey man, if I don't see this particular guy real well, but I'm not ducking him. Maybe that's
yeah.
No, I know you're not ducking. It gives us the best opportunity to compete. If 100%. You don't see this guy well and it works out, then that'll be a day for you. So, but the last thing of this is there's something to be said for guys being on the field and playing, and that says something to their teammates. And there's something to be said for that as well. That, you know what, I need to go grind and play and be on the field and be able to contribute and be counted on. So anyway, long answer to your question, there's a lot of factors into it. Our player health and making sure they're healthy is really one of my number one jobs. Now they get hit in the ribs with a pitch or turn an ankle or, any of those things, that's out of their hands. But, being able to partner with them and our medical staff and our coaching staff to make sure that we're doing the right reps to get them ready to play, but keep them healthy so they can stay in the lineup.
It's a good answer. I just want to have one follow-up just quickly because I had many people ask me this, and I didn't know the answer. I tried to put on my manager's hat, so I want to give you the chance. They kept asking me, why did Mike Shildt have Luis Ariz on the bench twice against lefties already? He hits lefties pretty good, and I went, well, he's got to think about the defense at first. Jake's been playing well there, and he wants to get Donovan Solano into the lineup because he's hitting lefties great. And you don't want to sit one of your great mashers against lefties against a lefty that can get him going. But I didn't really know the answer, so I wanted to give you a chance to talk to those people that were asking that question.
Yeah, I think that you pretty much did a nice job.
Okay, good.
Look at that.
Good. Look at that. My manager's hat was on.
Wow.
Look at you go. The fact of the matter is you get Donovan, who's really good against lefties, and you look at the lineup and you go, all right, Bogey hits lefties and has some history with some of these guys, and Manny's in there, DHing. Somebody's got to sit. And it's just Crony did it a while back. Luis has done it a couple times. Tonight we're facing the lefty and Freed. Luis is in there as his Crony, and we're going to sit Donovan because Manny's going to play third. Somebody – and look, Luis does handle lefties relative to lefties and other people and other factors. Other guys are handling lefties too, and Donovan went out and got, a couple hits and is rewarded, having good at-bats. So, tonight he's sitting, it's like, man, love to have that guy in the lineup. The good news is you love to have all these guys in the lineup. So that's a positive thing.
All right, before we let you go, thanks so much for the time. It ran a little bit long. I really do appreciate it. But is the Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings is that a movie I need to watch?
I thought we knew every baseball movie.
Never heard of this one. You referenced it. I had to look it up. Is that a movie I should watch this weekend? When I'm not watching the Padres, of course.
I don't know that I mean, at your leisure. I wouldn't rush over and check it out. I realize how much I date myself when I see it sometimes.
Hey, Richard Pryor is great.
He's great.
That's
James Earl
fantastic.
Jones.
James Earl Jones. He's in another baseball
James Earl
movie.
Jones,
Yeah.
Billy D. Williams. Yeah. Richard Pryor. Yeah. They're good clubs. You take 2 out of 3 against them. You
All right. Okay. All right.
Fair
Now I
enough.
know. Thank you so much.
We
Skip.
were all
Appreciate it.
asking the question. Appreciate it, Mike. Good luck tonight. Hopefully the weather holds up this weekend as well, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Mike Shildt, manager of the San Diego Padres, with us and giving his thoughts on everything. I thought some interesting stuff there. Let's take a quick time out. We'll come back. We will kind of piece that together, break it down a little bit, get your thoughts on it as well. Ben Woods back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Reacting to Mike Shildt's manager's report, and again, the manager's report brought to you each week by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It is better. Thank you to them for getting the skipper on with us each and every week. I thought you asked a good question that, is there a time when you got to, what did you say, put your fist down, bang the table? And Mike Shildt said, and this didn't surprise me, that he's not the kind of guy that's going to let bad play just go on. If he thinks he sees bad play, sloppy baseball, a lot of mental mistakes, he's the kind of guy that's going to address that.
He is relentlessly positive. Like he is relentlessly positive. And by the way, somebody made this point on the roundtable yesterday. It might have been you. Based on what's happened here the last couple of years, the clubhouse, whatever. I mean, is that really the wrong approach? Is it the wrong approach? To be as positive and attentive, I guess, as you can be after what's happened the last couple of years.
I mean, we still don't know the answer to what went wrong with last season.
Correct.
We don't have a definitive answer, even in hindsight. Even Kierkegaard living backwards, we still don't know. Was it because they let things go on too long, or was it because they put too much pressure on themselves to turn things around?
I've heard lack of leadership. I've heard too much leadership. I've heard too many meetings, not enough meetings. Bob Melvin cared too much. He didn't care enough. I've heard Juan Soto was bad. I've heard Juan Soto was good. I heard Manny and Soto didn't get along. I heard Soto and Manny did get along. I've heard every single theory in the book. But if you're Mike Shildt and you're taking over the job, all you know is that it went south, and you have to do everything you can to not let it go south.
I'm glad he said, all right, the last game of that series was frustrating.
Correct.
Whatever he said in his press conference that got people kind of up in arms on Wednesday.
Me, for sure.
You, for sure. And I totally agreed with him the first 2 days. I said the same things on the show. It was pretty unlucky the way you're ripping the ball around. You get walks, you hit line drives. It's not working. The Rockies hit some bleeders that fall holes. That happens in baseball. The last game, though,
last game sucked.
Legitimately sucky and frustrating. And he finally did say, I don't know if he was in a place where he wanted to say it on Wednesday, but to us, he said, yes, all right, Wednesday, that was frustrating. That was not what we're looking for. It's not what we want to see. And I'm glad. I'm glad he said that. I think it was important that he kind of faced the reality of that Wednesday was just awful. It was just awful. It wasn't Jurickson's fault because he tried to play aggressively, and he likes guys that are trying to play aggressive baseball, and they will make mistakes sometimes. I get that, but it was just a bad game. It was a bad game for the Padres, so we got that.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna take another quick timeout. This is what happens when you talk to the manager for 20+ minutes.
We have clock integrity.
We got to catch up on our last break, but after that, that's it. We're going all the way to the end of the program with more thoughts on Mike Shildt and wrap things up for a Friday and get you ready for the weekend. Coming up next here with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hi, this hour on Ben and Woods brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
Big weekend plans?
No big weekend plans.
Padres baseball.
Padres baseball are my weekend plans. My immediate plans, though, involve going to our phone line because it's an immediate stop down anytime I see Ryan Cohen on the line calling in.
Ryan Cohen.
So even before traffic, we're going to get to Ryan here on 97.3 The Fan. Ryan, it is always a pleasure to take your phone call from whatever part of the country you are in right now.
Well, I'm honored to beat traffic. Thanks for having me, guys.
Kelly
good to
said
hear
there
your
wasn't much
voices. It's
traffic
been too
this
long.
morning anyway, so don't worry about it.
Okay, perfect. I'm in Atlanta. I just landed in the Atlanta airport. I'm going to the series this weekend, my first Padres game of the year. I'm super excited.
Hartsfield Jackson International, one of the busiest airports in the world.
It's a nightmare, that airport. A nightmare.
I just had a good little late breakfast, early lunch. I'm happy. I get to get some work done before my buddy picks me up, checking the Airbnb. So I'm good. I'm happy.
Good. Off to see the Pods Braves, and again, we've talked a lot about it. They've played much better against better teams. It makes no sense to me. It never will. The getting up for the good teams like the Dodgers and the Cubs and the Brewers, and just getting bodied by the Colorado Rockies. I'm interested really to see if the Rockies can continue their streak of staying hot.
I mean, I don't mean to get preachy or anything because you guys have taught me a ton, but my life advice is I no longer care about the last 3 games. They're gone. They're out the window, and they never happened in my book. We're on to Atlanta. Let's go. We're here. I do not care about the last 3 games. They're done.
Now, the next 4 are also very concerning because, the Atlanta Braves are a really good team.
Yep.
And you could be red hot going into this series and still have legitimate concerns about having to go up against guys like Max Fried today, Chris Sale on Monday, and the entire – who else are they facing in the series? We got it here. Bryce Elder tomorrow and Reynaldo Lopez on Sunday. All right, well, I mean, do what you did with the Dodgers. Beat Tyler Glasnow. Beat Max Fried tonight. You're setting yourself up for a good weekend, aren't you, Ryan?
I mean, I win tonight, and I'm just going to be on cloud 9. I don't necessarily have the highest expectations for tonight's game. I think tonight's going to be more of a try and see the ballpark, enjoy being at a baseball game. And then tomorrow is going to be the one where I really want the Padres to win. Obviously, I want them to win tonight, but
going all 4?
You don't want to go in with too high of expectations. No, I got to get back to New York on Sunday. So only tonight and tomorrow.
How's the Big Apple treating you, by the way? Can swallow a kid whole, I've heard.
Yeah. It's been great, man. I love my job. I love the friends I have. I definitely miss California, no doubt, especially San Diego. But I couldn't be happier with the way things have gone in my first 7-8 months here. It's been great.
Well, I'm hoping we get at least 1 or 2 cutaway shots during the broadcast tonight of Ryan Cohen at the game. So make your presence felt, and we will talk to you again soon, man.
I can't promise what the cameras are going to do, but I can promise I'll be loud, I'll be yelling, I'll be dancing, I'll be having fun. So great to hear you guys' voice. Much love always.
Love you, buddy. Be well.
Right. He's repping the Padres in Atlanta tonight at Truist Park out in the suburbs of Atlanta for the Padres and Braves. We had someone go, isn't there a dome on that thing?
No.
If there's rain, there's problems because they do not have a dome on the stadium in Atlanta. It is an open-air ballpark, and thus subject to the whims of Mother Nature.
Keep vamping, because I'm going to pull up the weather app.
I'm gonna vamp right into a check of traffic here with Kelly Danek on 97.3 The Fan. Wasn't that easy?
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danek.
It has not been too bad of a ride this morning. Keep in mind, though, northbound side of the 805, you got Caltrans workers blocking that left lane from El Cajon Boulevard toward the 8. At this time, though, does not seem to be really affecting traffic. In the North County, got a stalled car on northbound 15 past Via Rancho Parkway. It's between the HOV and Fast Lane. I'm Kelly Danek, Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's go to meteorologist Stephen Woods. He's in our AccuWeather Forecast 7000 Center for 97.3 The Fan.
I'm actually in the chopper today, Ben. It looks like crap.
Well, you called for a 3-hour rain delay earlier this morning.
I may get it.
Because you've got a school event to go to.
Yeah, I mean, it's dumping rain there from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Small break at 8:33.
That'd be about an hour and a half delay because so the game starts at 7:20 local time.
And then it dumps, starts back up again around 9 p.m. So you can get 27 minutes of the game in, depending on what the field looks like.
Well, so here's the strategy. If you get the game started, then Waldron should go nothing knuckleballs to save his arm, while Max Fried, they can't bring him back in after the long rain delay. You get into that Braves bullpen, and you just come back with Waldron with more knuckleballs out of the rain delay at the other side going, yeah, I can do this all night, guys.
I got this. Yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, you'd love a 2-inning game, and then they bang it for rain for a while, and Max Fried's not coming back out. And yeah, steal one potentially. But no, it's a huge series. They're all huge series right now. Trying to dig out of that little mini hole that they created over the this week and dropping it to the Rockies.
And by the way, it is a mini hole.
It's a mini hole.
I mean, last year there were many times that I would have been thrilled if the Padres could have gotten within 2 games of 500.
Yeah, with a mini hole.
With just a mini hole. They were in a maxi hole too often.
All right.
To last season. Now you just want to avoid getting into that kind of hole this year.
Stop talking about holes.
Stay out of the big hole and keep it in a small hole.
Always preferred.
The smaller holes.
Correct.
As opposed to the really big, giant holes. The gaping holes. You don't want to get in those holes. I'm speaking of record in relation to 500. Nothing else. But you knew that. Quick update.
Oh, is this a golf update?
Yeah.
Right. I need to be somewhere at 10:40. Can I just go now?
Not on the tournament. On Scotty Scheffler's lawyer has already come out with a statement. Since we started the show with the news about Scotty Scheffler getting arrested, thrown in jail, bailed out, and getting to his tee time. And we gave you Scotty Scheffler's statement about the incident at the PGA Championship this morning. His lawyer has come out with a statement now saying, and this is now the official story, that Scotty was following the instructions of another police officer when a separate officer then gave him conflicting instructions, which made it, of course, impossible for Scotty to follow all the instructions of the police officer. And the one that arrested him, obviously, was the one that he felt like he wasn't. He was directed, go this way, drive this way. And another officer was saying, Snow, go this way and do that. And he was put in an impossible situation.
He was actually driving the car.
He was actually, they drive their own courtesy cars usually. Yeah. Some courses do have, drivers picking them up. But for the most part, they're given those free, cool courtesy cars to drive around for a few days. And then they turn it in at the end. But they drive themselves to and from the tournament. Oftentimes with their caddy will be with them in the car. I didn't see a caddy with him. Maybe the caddy was already there, got there earlier to set things up or
how's he doing?
Something. Let's see. The latest update, he was 1 under through 3 the last time I checked. At this current stage, Scotty Scheffler is still 1 under through 8. So birdied the first hole, has played even par since then. Xander Schauffele has not started yet, so he's still 4 strokes behind Xander Schauffele, whose lead is down to 1 over Mark Hubbard, who is 2 under today, 8 under for the tournament. Bunch of guys at 7 under, including Colin Morikawa, Alex Noren, and Austin Eckroat right now.
I'm just looking at the preview for the series. Darvish will go tomorrow. Bryce Elder, Joe Musgrove is it's TBA right now, but there's a giant picture of Joe Musgrove in the UT. So I think that's what they're. Damn it! I forgot to ask Shildt about Joe if he's going to start.
I would imagine that he's not going to say anything at least tomorrow after the game. No reason to paint yourself into a corner until you know for sure. I think Joe might even throw today. Usually 2 days before. He'll have his last session today, so they won't make a decision until after that. It goes well, and then he wakes up Saturday. He goes, no, I'm good to go for tomorrow. My guess is that's when the Mike Shildt makes that decision on Joe Musgrove.
And Reynaldo Lopez, he's the guy they traded.
He's been dirty.
Dude, he's the guy. Wasn't he a reliever they converted into a starter in Atlanta? Yeah, he's 2-1 with a 1.34 right now. He was his only history with the Padres says is throwing a scoreless inning as a reliever with the White Sox in 22, and then Game 4 is Dylan Cease, I believe, against Chris Sale. That's going to be a really good matchup.
Well, remember, the Padres have faced already this season some of the nastiest pitching in baseball. They track that, and that is true. Not going to ease up this weekend against the foursome of starters that the Braves will be going with. All right, that is pretty much it for us. I think after a week like this, we need a little positivity in our lives. So
love you guys.
We are going to finish with things Ben likes for the last couple of minutes. Enjoy. I know I will.
I know you will.
I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
Literally
things I enjoy.
Marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy. I like good, firm banana.
I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating.
I like moist.
I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores.
I like sugar.
I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. I like pie. I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this day. I like being right. I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversation. I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like that big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tiger still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew-buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake. I like a lot of things. I like Chick-fil-A sauce. I just like rankings. I like Steve Winwood. I like Pie Gal Poker. I like to be informed on subjects. I like Chicago. I like Tom Petty. I like the idea of another left-handed bat in the lineup for sure. I do like a good Matt Damon film. I like being on the same page. I like broccoli. I like Brussels sprouts. I like a lot of things. I like this shirt. I like Wipeout. I liked my omelet. I like San Diego State at home. I like when a baseball player can be more than just a baseball player. I like vanilla. I like the atmosphere. I like the felt on a poker table, just kind of how it feels under your fingers when you're there. I like rhubarb pie. I like the window seat. Changing the subject. I like that. I like just the standard yellow peep. I like how San Diego State's playing right now. I like finer things. I like calling a game. I like fiction more than nonfiction, just like the cream. I actually like playing golf with other people. I've liked everything I've seen so far from Mike Schill. I like Mexican food. I like just the solar system. I do like steak. I like specifics. I like going to 7 Mile Casino during the day. I like that people are there having a good time. I like my new eating schedule. I liked what I was eating. Yeah, I like the variety of the menu at Sammy's. I do like a good midnight buffet. And you know what, Paulie? I like things Ben likes because it means that we are officially usually at the end of the week, which we are.
We did it.
Woodsy's already out. He's got a busy rest of his Friday to get to, so enjoy the rest of your day, Woods. Paulie, you enjoy your weekend.
I will.
We will remember Monday we are on at 6 a.m., but we will be off at about 8:20. So make sure you join us early to wrap up the weekend of Padres baseball and more. Andy and Elston are coming up next for Woodsy and Paul. I'm Ben. Have a great weekend from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.